Oh no!
We're bad people.
Welcome to Bad Movies for Bad People. My name is William. With me here today, my constant companions, Ed Lipinski.
That's me.
And getting the band back together. This is a classic episode of Bad Movies for Bad People because we have Zach Holmes, Zach Ass, with us today.
What's up? I am Zach Ass.
Glad to have you back, man.
Glad to be back.
Yeah. So I say, with all that, let's open the door, get on the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur. Today, we are talking about 1993's infamous Super Mario Brothers, the movie. The movie.
Or did for our East Coast friends, Super Mario Brothers.
God. No thank you. So, he doesn't say it's a me, Mario. He says
it's
Mario. Like Our Lady Maria.
This country is a melting pot, okay?
So what was your familiarity with this movie before we get started?
Prior to deciding to do it for this episode, you mean? I saw this shit when it came out. I think I saw it on cable the first time. Because I definitely did not spend my money to go to the movie theater. But like everybody in my generation, I was obsessed with Nintendo, and Super Mario Brothers was the game that came with the original 8-bit Nintendo. So that was like by default one of my top 5 favorite games. And by the time this came out, Super Nintendo was out, and Super Mario World is still, to this day, I hold that game close to my heart as one of my top 5 all-time favorite video games. I will still, to this day, plug that shit in and play it for hours and hours. This movie doesn't have any of that. This is true.
I've seen Ed. I have seen Ed. Ed has played Super Mario World so much that he can basically speedrun it and get every secret. It's insane watching him. It's like watching a master swordsman. It's like watching an Olympian.
I can speedrun it, but not well enough to make any money off of it. It's like I'm not like Olympic level, but I'm like the fastest kid in your school. Like that's how I am at my Super Mario World.
Still impressive.
Very impressive. For me, I'm pretty sure I also watched the TV version of this first.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I think my mom recorded it onto a VHS.
Yeah.
And then she's like, this is the Mario movie. And I'm like, oh, sick. And it was like not like Mario at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was how I was first introduced to it.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, Zach and I were 2 when this came out.
Yeah.
So we definitely didn't see it in theaters. I must have seen it on TV, and I vaguely, I don't know how much of this is a constructed memory, but I remember being like, oh, Mario movie, I want to see it. And my dad like, you don't want to see that, it sucks. And all I remember from the movie was the line where Dennis Hopper is like, you know what I love about mud? It's dirty and clean at the same time.
Do you know what I love about mud? It's clean and it's dirty at the same time.
For whatever fucking reason, that's what stuck with me. That's literally all I fucking remember. like I would watch the movie and like occasionally I would get like little deja vu of like, oh yeah, this part where they're like looking at something, or oh, this close up, just like a weird childhood memory. But yeah, what I remembered was, you know what I love about mud? Don't know why. That's what stuck with me. So
that is so fucked. Of all the weird ass things to dial into your permanent memory, that's the one, huh? even just of all the weird things Dennis Hopper says in this movie, that's the fucking one right there.
You ever have that thing when you were a kid where you're just like standing in the kitchen and you're like, I'm gonna remember this moment forever? and then you do
Yes.
for no reason. So with that being said, for me at least, this was like basically a new movie, except for the 2 seconds it takes Dennis Hopper to say, "Do you know what I love about mud? It's dirty and clean at the same time." Other than that, new movie. And,
it'd be so great if you had no idea what that was from either, and you just carried that around in your brain and it like unlocked it. I've had that happen with me with movies to me before, where I've gone into a movie thinking I haven't seen it, and then like 10 minutes in, I've been like, "Holy shit, I've seen this movie!" And it unlocks like a whole part of my brain. It's so weird. Like I think I'm like a Manchurian Candidate, but instead of like killing the president, I just watch movies.
The only thing weirder than that is when you watch a movie or TV show that you thought you haven't seen before, and then you watch it and you realize not only have you seen it before, but somewhere along the line you misremembered this as something that happened to you. As ever get there, you're like, "Oh, I've been telling this story like it happened to me."
I have had that happen to me before.
my voice cracked in the middle of choir practice, or about the time I went on vacation in Hawaii and I found a cursed tiki statue.
Yeah, I did that with Braveheart.
Oh shit.
So
is that why occasionally when you're doing stunts you just yell out "freedom"?
Yeah, I think that's why.
You should start doing that. It's because he loves freedom, Ed.
I'm on board.
So, this is all to say this was like a new movie to me in more ways than one. I would be remiss if I did not point out that we watched the extended edition, the newly re-put together extended edition. Shout out to Garret Gilchrist. We'll talk more about him at the end, but this episode would not be possible without him, so big ups to him. Thank you.
Yeah, when I heard about this extended cut, I literally dropped everything, rushed out of my room, considered jumping through the glass door that I have.
Yeah,
just to tell Will.
It was amazing.
We have to do this.
I wish you would have put clothes on first, but I still shared your excitement.
You know, yeah. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
He also does that every time he sees a butt on TV.
There's butts on TV. I thought that was illegal.
It's not illegal anymore, Zach.
Welcome to California, baby. Biden's America.
It's just a flashback to his Christian upbringing. He's just like...
Yep. No more pure flicks for me.
So this movie starts on a black screen, and there's a little bit of the ground theme, you know, doot 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 doot. And I was like, oh, that's funny. You start the movie, it makes the same sound as when you start the original Super Mario Brothers. Okay, and then it cuts. So you know, we got a little bit of a Mario mood going, and then to keep that Mario mood going, we cut to black and white eraser head babies that are supposed to be dinosaurs. It's like stop motion from, I don't know, The Lost World, like a Harryhausen movie or something.
It definitely had a Harryhausen vibe. Like at first when I was watching it, I thought for a moment, I don't know if you guys are fans of the show Pee-wee's Playhouse, but like occasionally he'd like look in his refrigerator and be like, cool. Oh, John Paragon, you left this earth too soon. Yeah, occasionally he'd like look in his refrigerator and there'd be like stop motion claymation dinosaurs, and I totally got a Pee-wee's Playhouse vibe off of that. And then I wished we were watching that instead of this, but this happened instead.
If you like the art design on Pee-wee's Playhouse, I would strongly recommend a documentary called Beauty is Embarrassing. It's about the art director of Pee-wee's Playhouse. It's really, really good. Anyway, total sidebar. A new thing for this podcast. Yeah. So the
first try some of those out more often.
Yeah. The first dinosaurs we see, like the little stop motion raptors, they look like the baby from Eraserhead. It's disgusting. We get a super on screen that says Brooklyn 65 million years ago. And a quick thing here is, I think this was not present in the extended edition. I think in the original edition there's a narrator here, and it's Homer Simpson himself, Dan Castellaneta. So there's some dinosaur. We're looking at Dinosaur Brooklyn. There's dinosaurs with thick frame glasses and a beanie in the height of summer, getting artisanal mayonnaise. And then the meteor crashes.
Yeah, there's only one Apple store. There's like...
then the meteor crashes, and we get some awful CGI. It is so awful, in fact, I don't know what it's supposed to represent. It's just like a cave. The inside of the meteor. I don't know. It just looks like a screensaver, like an early screensaver. So don't know what that was. And then we smashed the title, Super Mario Brothers. Go on.
Sidebar, because you mentioned early screensavers, like I just want you guys to know like how insane old and young people were for early screensavers in the Windows 3.1, Windows 95 era. When I was like in middle and high school, like I had a teacher, I can't remember 8th grade or 9th grade, but he would just watch his fucking screensaver, and it was just this tunnel. It was just this. It might have been this scene actually. It was just this infinite tunnel, and he would just stare at it, and he's like, "That's so amazing."
My screen
they let that
is
man
so
teach
saved.
children. They let that man teach children like he was a baby. Like he was a baby seeing sound and light for the first time.
I remember going to computer class in elementary school, which would have been around the same time your story was happening, Ed. And I remember this was before the time when every house had a computer, so it was like still kind of a novelty. And I remember like this, when one of the screensavers came on, we all reacted like we were witnessing a miracle. It was like, Johnny, it's doing the pipes again. Get over here. You're not going to believe this.
Oh, those fucking pipes. Much better CGI than what we're seeing in this film, though.
Yes.
But not their fault. I read an interview with the director that a lot of the CGI in this movie, because CGI was so new, they had to write programs for stuff that didn't exist and it became like the stock program that you can get, to this day. There's an effect in the movie where people like fade away into like bits, and they had to write that program for this movie, and like the essential code to that is still in the whatever After Effects software that you get to this day. So
yeah, I'm not really an effects guy, but I think it was Flame Desk, I think is what it's called. But I had read that as well.
Super Mario Brothers, revolutionary.
That's actually we'll talk about that at the end. That's actually pretty true. But for the time being, we smashed a title, Super Mario Bros, and then we see another Super, Brooklyn. I was like, okay, cool. After all that meaningless dinosaur stuff, we're into the story. Then the second part of the Super fades up 20 years ago, and I was like, fuck! God damn it! So, Brooklyn in the 70s, and we see a woman running through the rain. She's being pursued by someone. She's running through the busy streets, and she runs up to the front door of a nunnery, and she's got a mysterious package with her, which obviously is going to be a baby. Now, what else do you leave nuns? A tip? No, a baby.
Because this is like Brooklyn in the 70s. Of course it's a fucking baby. Like, this is back when Brooklyn was like dangerous and AIDSy, Like, it was like... It was still like... It was like Charles Bronson's New York back then.
Brooklyn in the 70s. I recently watched all of The Deuce, which is a show about how terrible Times Square used to be. And in that show, like where they're living in, it's about like there's like pimps in Times Square and murders. And when their idea of the ghetto in 1974 was Brooklyn. For the people living in like the place where there's just prostitutes in the street and stuff. If that gives you an idea of what Brooklyn was like then. So she leaves a mysterious package on the front doorsteps of the convent, and then she runs away, and she's running from this shadowy figure, and she retreats into a sewer. So she's in the sewer tunnel. From here, we cut to the church. The nuns bring inside the package, which is like swaddled in like a blanket, and they open it up. And instead of a baby, there's like this hard plastic. It looks like what Superman came to Earth in, like an oblate spheroid. And they like press a button, and it opens up, and there's a giant egg inside and a crystal. Keep that in mind. It's important because it's a crystal. It has healing properties, you
I was
guys.
about to say.
That's right. they all align their chakras, and
Yes,
Yeah.
they get very alive.
That's the movie.
Yeah, and that's pretty much
This-
it. Just it
this
takes
is
like
what
2
this
hours.
is what starts Brooklyn on the gentrification, new agey thing. Is this crystal specifically?
So then we're back in the sewer, and the sewer kind of opens up into like a natural cave tunnel.
All sewers do that.
Yeah, as we're all shitting in caves. Mankind hasn't come that far. So the woman is running through the cave, and her pursuer catches up to her, and it's Dennis Hopper wearing like a military uniform, but with like spikes on his shoulders. And the most interesting thing about his look is his like wispy blonde hair is in like pseudo cornrows. It's not braided; it's just like gelled into rows, like head ridges.
It's like little ridges.
And,
yeah, exactly.
And she looks at him and she gasps and she says, Koopa. Let me just say this right here. As I mentioned, I remember virtually nothing about this movie, but I had a little bit of, what do idiots call it on the internet when they misremember something? Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Because I thought for sure,
How do you feel about the Mandela effect, William?
I think you have to have a serious narcissism thing where if you're like, could I be misremembering something? Is that possible that my memory is fallible? No. The entire universe is wrong. I'm not. Like, but I thought for sure his name was Bowser in the movie, and I remember like all the posters saying like Bowser for president, but probably not. Like I said, probably not.
Okay,
Because of this movie,
I'm an old person, so I can provide some insight. As everybody knows, like the Koopa family is all named after musical figures. There's like Iggy Koopa, named after Iggy Pop, and so on and so forth. And Morton Koopa Jr., named after that famed pop singer Morton Downey Jr. That joke is hilarious if you know who I'm talking about. But anyway, Bowser is named after Bowser from Sha-Na-Na. And in the 80s, for whatever reason, when they were adapting Mario for like cartoons, for comic books, for this movie, they just refused to engage with the fact that he was named after the goofy guy with the pompadour from Sha-Na-Na. So they just called him either Koopa or King Koopa in every piece of media because they're like, no, I will accept a thing where an Italian plumber goes down a sewer pipe, collects coins, eats a mushroom, gets big, and fights dragons, but I will not call him the guy from Sha-Na-Na's name, goddammit.
What were you gonna say, Zach?
well, because I kept calling Bowser King Koopa after this.
Yeah.
So in every Mario game, and like I was playing Mario at someone's house, and they're like, "That's not King Koopa, it's Bowser, you fucking idiot!"
Get out of my house!
Yeah, they're like,
I
"What a
apologize, Zach.
moron."
That was a long time ago. I hope we're past that.
That was 6 weeks ago, liar.
Zach's
You
like,
playing
where am I
that
gonna
King
sleep
Koopa
tonight?
game?
And I was like, I don't know. Maybe at King Koopa's place,
Yeah.
you asshole.
There's a sewer down the street.
He showed
Have
up
a
on
nice
my
cave.
doorstep like so much egg with a crystal. It was terrible.
But in Japan, Bowser is still called King Koopa, and I think in like the manual for Super Mario Brothers, he's called King Koopa. But I know in Super Mario 64 and like the little intro sequence, Peach calls him Bowser.
Oh no,
So
he's
I don't
Bowser
know.
in the manual. He's Bowser in the I did a
Okay.
deep dive on this a few years ago because
Okay.
it drove me insane. Yeah, he's Bowser in all of the American manuals and stuff, and that's what started the whole thing. By the way, if you ever read the original booklet for Super Mario Brothers, the video game, it's grisly and weird. Just find it for yourself. It's on the internet. It's bizarre.
An unfun factoid from the original Super Mario Brothers booklet is all of the floating bricks are the denizens of the Mushroom Kingdom, and Bowser used his magic to turn them into bricks. So Mario is committing genocide against his own people in the game. So could have done without that little fact. So the woman is running through the sewer cave, and she's caught by her pursuer, and she whips around and she gasps and she says, Koopa! And Koopa says, where's the rock? And this being a sewer in the 70s, I'm assuming he just wants to buy some crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thought this was his connect. It was a case of misidentity.
Yeah, 6 people pop out and try to sell him crack.
Yeah, I got what you need. Yeah. So he says, "Where's the rock?" And then the sewer seems to collapse. I guess there's a sewer cave in. Then we cut back to the convent. The egg hatches, and there's a human baby inside. And then we see that one of the nuns is holding a crystal that she took from like the egg shell. So then we're in the present day. Our movie is finally starting, you guys. By the present day, I mean 1993. So
Brooklyn is still a piece of shit.
Present day, yeah. It's still, you could still get shot in the daytime, not just nighttime. So we're in an apartment, and like kind of a small apartment, and on TV there's an extremely smoky interview, because this is the 90s, with a guy who claims he was a lineman and he fell into another dimension, and the interviewer is kind of like, oh, another dimension, ugh. And then we kind of pan around the apartment where we finally get our first glimpse of Mario, as played by Bob Hoskins, and he looks a lot like my dad circa 1982. He's kind of he's got like black hair and a mustache, and he's kind of like, hey, Luigi, whoa. Bob Hoskins as Mario is kind of like the archetypical, hey, I'm walking here guy.
Yeah.
You know, like he's kind of like, whoa, Luigi, what are you doing? And then we see Luigi, who's been lying recumbent upon the couch watching this interview. Luigi, played by famous Italian actor John Leguizamo. He's like, oh, Mario, I'm watching this interview. Whoa, what are you doing here? Why are you busting my balls? He doesn't say that. But Mario does throw a shoe directly at his ball sack, and we get some testicular humor right in our first 15 here. So, because somebody was playing Mario, and he's like, you know what this needs? Mario needs to get hit right in the nugget sack. That's what we need to make this better.
It does authenticate their relationship as brothers.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
And plumbers.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not really somebody's brother until you tap him in the sack. It's true.
Yeah.
Zach's got a lot of brothers, if that's true.
Yeah, totally.
So they're poor plumbers, and they've got a job. So they pull on their tool belts, and they jump into their van, and they get to the job site, and they see a much nicer van. The Scapelli brothers, or the Scapelli crime/plumbing family, beat them to the job. The job is in a restaurant. The restaurant has a sink that's flooded. And as they get in there, the Scapellis are talking to the restaurateur, and they're like, oh, this is going to be a 2-month fix. And Mario, because he's a good guy, is like, oh, I can get this done in 2 hours tops. So the Scapellis are corrupt plumbers. They're a plumbing racket. Plumbers are ruining this damn city. And, we also get this this moment where the restaurateurs are like, who are you guys? And Mario's like, it's me, Mario. So his first name is Mario, his last name is Mario, and apparently this is canon. Shigeru Miyamoto has said that he was so tickled by this idea that he considers it like quasi-canon, but I mean, Shigeru Miyamoto has some weird ideas about canon, although I believe in the first Yoshi's Island game, the one where with Baby Mario, at the opening cutscene, you see the Mario's house, and the mailbox outside says the Mario family, which also implies that even in the games, his name is Mario. Anyway, so from here, from this exciting scene of plumbers comparing rates, we cut to downtown Brooklyn, where there's currently an archaeological
that's my favorite
dig site.
part of the original
we know
Super
this
Mario
because there's
Brothers.
a convenient news reporter.
Oh, yes.
There's a convenient news reporter who's like, dinosaur bones have been discovered in downtown Brooklyn, which is, did he just catch wind of this? Because there's like a 30-foot hole being dug in the ground here. How is this news right now? There's a lady paleontologist. Her name is Daisy, but we don't get that until later, because they're like, we need a female lead for our Mario movie. Who's the most famous girl character in Mario? I know, Princess Daisy of Sarasaland.
Yeah, the person that no one knows about.
Yeah.
Peach was busy.
Yeah.
She wasn't even Peach at that point. She wasn't even Peach at that point.
She was still Princess Toadstool.
Yeah, which is probably why they decided to go with a different person's name, because, I fell in love with Princess Toadstool. Works in a video game, but not so much like a movie.
Okay, all right, You've got a point.
Princess Toadface or whatever.
So the boss of the Scapelli crime family is also at the dig site because the Scapellis do two things. They charge too much for plumbing and they hate paleontology. So he's trying to stop this dig site because, I don't know, it interferes with his crime. Maybe he just saw a big hole in the center of Brooklyn. He's like, I could dispose of a lot of bodies there.
Well, there is an illusion when Mario and Luigi are hashing it out with the evil plumbers that their boss is a no good toxic waste dumper, he calls him. So maybe he's just mad because there's a big hole in the middle of Brooklyn. I can put so much toxic waste in there. Just imagine all of the toxic waste that I could be putting in that hole. Like I see a hole, I got to fill it with toxic waste.
He's like a beaver. He can't help himself. It's his natural impulse. See a hole, fill it with toxic waste. He wants the paleontologist out of the hole. That's a perfectly good toxic waste hole. And Daisy stands up to him and she's like, how dare you interfere with my paleontology? I don't know. So from here we cut to a cab and there's two weird guys hanging out in the cab. We'll later learn these guys are Koopa's goons. Their names are Iggy and Spike. I think we're supposed to look at them and be like, whoa, look at these weird guys. They got a mullet and they're wearing suit jackets and they've got weird little glasses. That's just Brooklyn. You just see that in Brooklyn. It's not that weird. They needed to go a little weirder with these guys' costume designs to really sell that they're fucking from another dimension. So they're eating hot dogs in their cab and they see Daisy pass by and they're like, oh, that's the target. And there's like a little bit of like Abbott and Costello-esque wordplay, but they see Daisy and they go to follow her. We cut back to our brothers as they're driving away, defeated from the job, and their van breaks down. Wouldn't you know it, it's overheated. So Mario goes into a store to get just some water, not coolant, just some water. And as he's in there, Luigi happens to see these two goons. They're chasing Daisy, they're stalking her, they're creeping after her, and then whack, they walk right into some glass being carried by glass movers. Which, what happened to movies that was like a common thing?
That should happen more.
I don't think I've ever seen people carrying a giant pane of glass.
I've been waiting for that day I see someone carrying a giant pane of glass.
Are you just gonna fucking dash through it?
Through that thing.
Hell yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Please do.
I wonder, because of movies, if they have to get a third guy to like watch out for, we're carrying this sheet of glass in, so we need a third guy to be like our spotter to make sure somebody doesn't run through it because of every fucking movie.
They should just put some tape on it or something. Luigi is kind of seeing this, and while Mario is inside, Luigi is on a payphone. Remember those? Yep. He's on a payphone with a big job, lots of money, big job. They need all the plumbers they could get. And Daisy walks up to him, and he realizes that she's in trouble, and he hangs up the phone, and he gives it to her. Very, very gentlemanly, that Luigi. Mario comes out of the store, puts some water in the van. Daisy and Luigi, they kind of talk a little bit. Luigi's kind of nervous and awkward. And Mario offers to give Daisy a ride in their freshly watered van back to her paleontology hole. They give her a ride. While they're in the car, Luigi asks Daisy to dinner, and she accepts. Isn't that nice? So we cut to dinner, and what are they having for dinner? Spaghetti. The only thing Italians eat. It's all they ever eat, spaghetti. Were Italians like still considered so exotic that's like the only thing people knew that they ate in 1993 still?
To be fair, they do eat pizza for lunch in movies. So since they're not having lunch, the spaghetti is to show that it's dinner time.
What's for breakfast?
I don't know that I've ever seen a movie with Italians eating breakfast. God, I don't know. I quit.
What?
I quit the podcast.
Probably
I quit
just
the
cappuccino. Cappuccino and biscotti, probably. Sorry,
I quit. I must solve this mystery.
Have you guys seen the movie Breaking Away?
No.
No.
Well, pretty good movie. Takes place in Indiana. Takes place in Bloomington, Indiana. Part of it was filmed on the street where I later lived. It's about a kid who wants to be a professional bike racer, and he has a coach that's Italian, and an actual recurring plot point in the movie is his father's virulent anti-Italian racism. Like, there's a part where the kid is eating spaghetti and the dad is like, "What the hell is that?" And the kid's like, "Well, gee, Pop, it's called spaghetti." And the dad's like, I'm not gonna let you eat ID food in my house.
Oh my god.
It's really that movie was from 1979. I'm glad to see that Italians made a lot of progress in the 13 years between Breaking Away and Super Mario Brothers. So they're eating spaghetti because it's dinner. Mario is there with his Gumar. I think her name is Danielle. We only get her name at like the very end, but Mario has a girlfriend. She's very Brooklyn. Yep. So they're eating spaghetti. I also noticed in this scene, Mario wears a crucifix. So Mario, he fights turtle dragons, he shoots fireballs, and he believes in the redemptive power of Christ Almighty.
Yep.
I just thought that was a funny thing. And we also see here that Daisy has a necklace, and what's on the necklace? The crystal she was hatched with. Pretty mysterious, you guys. Yeah. So we also get a little bit of paleontology talk where Daisy tells us that she believes that dig site isn't just any old dig site. She thinks that's where the meteor that killed all of the dinosaurs crashed, was in what is now downtown Brooklyn. So she thinks it's a really important dig site, so she can't let those Scapellis stop her. The field of paleontology demands progress, damn it. And so we now know that she's the egg baby, and then we get to cut outside where our two goons, Spike and Iggy, they're watching the restaurant, and they see Mario and his girlfriend leave the restaurant, and they think that's Daisy. So they're like, well, this is our chance. Let's get her. This is what Koopa wants. So they pursue her, and they leave Daisy and Luigi in the restaurant. So we cut to Mario. Mario is kissing his girlfriend goodnight. And I just want to say here, so we were watching the extended edition, and you can tell what footage didn't make it into the master because it still has the running playhead at the bottom. So this part got cut where Mario kisses his girlfriend. It in the original version, it cuts in right after they kiss. So Mario, he can fix pipe, but he can never lay it. Yep. So Nintendo said Mario he can't fuck. Can't fuck. Nope. He can say bad words, he can jump around, and he can be Bob Hoskins, but he can't fuck. Yep. It just struck me as really funny.
Just like fucking Batman, heroes can't eat pussy.
And Mario can't get his fuck on. Well, maybe Mario just doesn't kiss. No. He'll fuck him, but he don't love him. You know what I mean? God damn it. So Mario leaves her, and as she's walking into her apartment, Spike and Iggy run up on her with a bag, like a Kazakhstani wedding. They just run up and they fucking bag her. That's pretty much all we see of her for like a while, is her just getting bagged by these fucking goons.
She had a good run.
She had a good run. So then we're back. We're in the tunnel from 20 years ago, which I guess Daisy's dig site opened up because it collapsed. I don't fucking know. No one knows. And there's a skeleton in the ground, like a dinosaur skeleton, and Daisy is showing Luigi, and she's like, "Look, it's a dinosaur that's trying to be human." What the fuck does that mean? It's doing taxes? What the fuck does that mean?
Just by how it's like positioned, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
He's got a hat.
Look, he's trying to be human.
He thinks he's people.
If a real paleontologist said that, they would get probably killed by a firing squad or something.
The paleontology Gestapo would fucking kill her in the dead of night. Yeah, she's like, oh, it's evolution. It's trying to be human, which not how that works. No. So there's a skeleton. So I guess she could just go into her dig site in the dead of night. It wasn't locked up.
Yeah, especially with aggressive, there's aggressive mobsters and shit. Why would they lock it up? It isn't as if a guy was previously menacing them just 12 hours before or anything. No, maybe she's got a key though. I don't know.
threatening her this morning. So they're down there in the tunnel, and then it just starts getting flooded with water, and like a guy runs out, and Luigi is like, Scapellis! So they're using their evil mafia plumbing powers to flood out the dig site, I guess. So from here, we cut back to the apartment. Luigi busts in, and he's like, Mario, well, I need the plumbing emergency. Mario was like, get your tools on, kid, because they lean hard into the plumbing angle, which has very little to do with the original series. But
Mario takes plumbing very seriously.
Very, very seriously. That's true.
I think at this point we even see on the wall of the Mario apartment there's like a plaque with like 2 plungers, like almost like a gun rack with hunting rifles, but it's like 2 toilet plungers, and I kind of want to get one of those for my apartment.
Mario and Luigi, they're in the dig site with Daisy. There's a bunch of pipes. I don't know if those are dino pipes or what, but with the power of plumbing, they stop the flooding, and we get a little moment here where we see that Mario and Luigi, they work together as a team. You know, they've got their issues as brothers, but where it counts, they work together and they fix it up, and it stops flooding. So, and their moment of victory is spoiled, however, because Spike and Iggy, the goons, they sneak up on the brothers and knock them out with wrenches, and they kidnap Daisy. And when the brothers come to, they can hear Daisy screaming further down the tunnel, and of course Luigi's like, we gotta save her. And Mario doesn't really want to. He's like, fuck that woman that got abducted. We fixed the pipes, what more do they want? But Luigi insists. So Mario he's more following Luigi than trying to save Daisy, this woman that was just abducted by 2 weird men.
It's pretty crazy they're doing this after this horrible head trauma.
Yeah, they seem to be okay. Yeah. They should probably be going to a hospital. They probably have CTE.
This whole movie is just a concussion dream.
This is just what they're hallucinating as they're dying on
they're on life support. It's like...
This is before we knew the dangers of concussions.
He's dying, and the little heart monitor is like beep 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 beep. The end. Well, that's not what happens because I wasn't allowed to write this movie. Yeah. So they follow.
Somebody
they go
else
further
was
down
for
the
some
tunnel.
reason.
So they're going down the tunnel, and they're following Daisy's voice, and they come to what looks like a stone wall, but they're hearing Daisy's voice is coming from it, and they look at the wall, and it starts to ripple like it's liquid. Very similar to the paintings in Super Mario 64. And then they see like a face like press out, and it's Daisy's face, and Luigi tries to reach in and grab her, but she slips away, but Luigi gets her necklace. So Luigi has the crystal. It's a crystal in a movie, so you know it's important.
Yeah.
Luigi and Mario, they kind of argue like, oh, what do? We gotta jump in there. Mario doesn't want to, and Luigi just does it. So they didn't even really, I don't know how like established the brothers' characterization was at this point, but it's kind of weird that Luigi is like the brash leap before you look type, and Mario is more concerned, cautious, because that's not how they are.
I think it should be the other way around.
It should be.
Yeah.
At this point, Luigi's character was just he jumps higher. At this point in the Mario evolution,
It was Green Mario.
Yeah.
Luigi's character was your obnoxious little brother wants to play with you.
Yeah.
And he finally wised up to the trick where you just give him an unplugged controller and you're like, you're controlling the enemies.
Yeah, it used to be, Mario Alpha, Luigi Beta. Now, it's the role reversal.
Wario is a Sigma.
Yeah.
Wario is a Sigma male.
Wario.
So where does Waluigi fit into this?
Fucking should have been.
Let's not talk about him, please.
Waluigi is pie because he is irrational. Because he's delicious and irrational.
Waluigi's still in prison. For his many, many crimes against the Mushroom Kingdom.
Waluigi is an Omega male because he's the end of all things.
If you see Waluigi, nothing good is going to come from
that. So Mario leaps headfirst into the painting into the stone wall after Luigi. It ripples, and I was expecting to hear the
Yeah.
Let's go. But instead, we just get screaming as he plummets through the screensaver dimension. We get some more terrible nonsense CGI. It looks like somebody hit a computer with a baseball bat, and this is what it pooped out.
Cut to my 8th grade teacher, Mr. Schechter, just watching in amazement, like, oh wow. Oh.
He holds up a needle full of heroin, and he's like, I don't need this anymore.
I have this screensaver now. Dude, this part of the movie is so fucking loud and screamy too. Like, I could not get over how much loud, explodey. Like, I officially became an old person watching this movie because I was like, could you keep it down?
I saw Fast 9 in a theater recently, and my big takeaway was, this theater is too loud. That's how old I am now.
Loud car crash.
Family.
We followed up our viewing of this movie by going outside and yelling at all the people driving down the road in front of our yard. You're going too fast! If that Frisbee lands in my yard, I'm keeping it.
Then I tried to haggle down my bill at the diner.
They should bring haggling back.
No, thank you. Too much confrontation for me.
There are too many people that think it never went away. Ugh.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
What's the best price you can give me for this? I love saying that to people.
The price that it says?
No. I'm gonna need you to get the manager.
I used to work in like high-end men's suiting, and I remember one time a guy came in and like fitted him for a suit. I recommended some colors for his event, and he's like, all right, how much is this whole thing gonna cost me? And I was like, it's probably gonna be about $2,500 for the whole thing. And he was like, $2,500? I could get a whole suit at Macy's for $200. Okay. Do you need directions? Like, what was I supposed to fucking do? Give it to him for 1/10 of the price? What did he think was going to happen there?
At that point, that's why I can't work sales, because at that point I would just be like, oh, that's a good price. You should go get one of those now, dude.
Actually, pick me up one.
Yeah. I'm going to take it out of my paycheck.
With the money you're saving, you can afford to get me a suit, sir.
Yeah, if we don't do price matching, this is not Best Buy. So, anyway, Mario gets spit out of screensaver land, and he lands in another world, another New York, which looks a lot like the regular New York, but there's like yellow paper everywhere, which is, we will later learn, this is supposed to be fungus.
This movie looks like New York. This looks like New York fucked Mars from Total Recall, is what it looks like. They fucked and they had a baby, and it was this.
It's actually pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool. There's a lot of like neon, kind of like a cyberpunk. Because when I think Mario, I think cyberpunk.
It's one of my favorite dystopian video games.
Yeah. There's sparks everywhere. There's a lot of like neon signs, and there's a lot of fun little things like the Club Thwomp. Or like Bullet Bill's All Night Diner or whatever. And there's posters everywhere that with images of Koopa, and it says vote for Koopa, Koopa for president, all this kind of stuff. It's actually very well executed. I gotta say that. This movie is notorious as being, this movie is regarded as one of the worst movies of all time. We'll talk about that more at the end, but let me just say I saw this part and I was like, this is actually pretty fucking cool. This city vista.
Yeah, for what it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All of the neon stuff. There was like a cool thing where all of the cars operate on like a bumper car system where they have like electric, or like a trolley where they have like a power line, and all of the cars have like antennas that like draw power from the power lines, so they don't have combustion engines. So yeah, I thought that was like a cool little detail.
They should do that in LA.
They should. there's these Koopa signs everywhere, and the brothers are kind of like, whoa, where are we? And pretty much immediately they get arrested because this might be a dystopia, but it is illegal to be Italian there. So they're doing one thing right. I'm kidding. No, they get arrested, and I like the design of the police because you know it's a dystopia because the police uniforms have the word police written in pyramid studs across the back. That just struck me as being so funny. So then we kind of see the brothers, they manage to escape the cops because Mario like gets up in a cop's face and like fucking shoves him. Because Mario, I take it back, everything I said, this Mario rules. This Mario fights cops. Hell yeah. Let's get some of that in the next Mario game.
This Mario would 100% be posting online about defunding the police.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep. So they escape and they fall and they see some little pests and you think they're rats, but then we cut in a little closer and they're actually gross, wet little dinosaurs. I don't know why they're all wet, but they seem very moist. They're like little rat-sized raptors, and they're like fighting over some morsel of food in the streets. Which I mean, you see that with rats in Brooklyn, so not that gross.
I kind of want to live in a world where those replace rats. I really wouldn't mind if I could. If instead of having to see like rats on the street when I go to New York, I could see little dinosaurs. I would 100% love that.
I don't know. I feel like they're going to get smarter. If it goes the way that rats are going, dude, I don't know if it's a good idea.
Well, and you can eat rats. I've had reptile; it's not very good, so I'm going to prefer the rats. Ideally, I'd like to live in Futurama's vision of New York, where it's just owls everywhere. That's their big pest is owls. That's what I want to do.
I hate how slimy they look.
Yeah, they're very wet.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about the owls.
Oh yes, nobody likes a slime owl. Nobody likes a slime owl.
No one likes that.
Yeah. So from here we cut to Koopa's palace, penthouse. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's very
compound, maybe
compound. It seems like an apartment. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lair is good. Anything with a villain is a lair. That's
sort of a lair.
Yeah.
I see that.
Fortress, maybe. I don't know. It has a very like modern like look. It's all like black and very like sleek and
more of a penthouse.
I think it is technically a penthouse. So he's in his penthouse. He does a little bit of mustache twirling, and he talks about how he wants Earth's resources, and he wants to eliminate all mammals. And he keeps talking about, I hate the mammals. Oh, I hate the mammals. And he also has a girlfriend. I think her name is Lena, but we don't learn that until much later. For a dude who hates mammals, his girlfriend sure does have huge cans. So, kind of weird. Yeah. By the way, his girlfriend, I was like, where the fuck have I seen her before? She's the evil stepmother or aunt in Harry Potter.
Oh.
That's where I knew her from. So what a weird career change, going from like sexy villain to like tawdry aunt. So Koopa is kind of just loudly proclaiming his plan, and he needs the crystal, he needs the meteorite piece, and he needs Daisy, because Daisy is the only one who can withstand the Force. Also, he calls her Princess Daisy, but he doesn't say. No one in the movie says princess. They all say princess. Princess Daisy. Is that a regional thing? What's going on with that? What's up with that?
I don't even notice that.
I don't know. It's just one of those things, like how Billy Jack says Bernard instead of Bernard.
Yeah.
Or people on the East Coast say Mario instead of Mario.
Well, fuck them, and they're wrong, and their whole coast is wrong, and you can tell them I said that. Koopa learns here that the plumbers have the crystal. And so he can't merge the dimensions without the crystal because, now his plan's making more sense, obviously. So we cut back to the bros. They're wandering the streets of New York when an announcement comes over the PA system that the whole city has, where there's a bounty on the heads of their plumbers for 2,000 gold coins. Huh? Like the games? Huh? And it's also weird that they did this because every other part of the movie, the currency of this dystopian society are coupons, but like Koop, like Koopa coupons. So that's weird that I don't know. what's the ratio? How many coupons is one gold coin worth? I'm assuming there's a trade rate there.
There's gotta be some trade there.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's like Bitcoin, where you can use the gold coins to buy drugs.
Coupons are a cryptocurrency.
I'm gonna make that cryptocurrency, because that's what the world needs is more crypto.
More crypto.
Okay.
Then we get a bunch of people to buy into it, and we sell.
Yeah.
Or however that works. I don't know how it works.
I think that's right. I don't know. How is that not a pump and dump scam? Who knows?
Yeah.
When they posted the gold coin bounty, did any of you in your head convert it to how many of those how many free lives Mario is worth? Like, because I did immediately, because that's the kind of Mario nerd I am.
That
I'm
would be like 20 lives.
7 free lives. Yeah. It's like 20 free lives.
Yeah. There's a little moment here that was cut from the final release where the Mario Brothers go up to a lady in the street and they're like, "Oh, we need help." And the lady was like, "Too bad, mother suckers." So they cut the minced profanity. I guess they didn't like that in their Mario movie. The Mario Brothers, they're trying to get their bearings in this strange new world. They are strangers in a strange land, and they see a nice old lady, and they're like, "Oh, hey, can you help us?" And the old lady's like, "Oh, are you young boys out here without a weapon? Do you know how dangerous that is?" And the boys are like, "Oh, yeah, we don't got a weapon." And the lady's like, "Good." And she pulls a gun on them. I thought that part was actually pretty funny.
That was great.
And she has it's like a taser, and she's like tasing them and like robbing them, and she's like, "Give me all your money." And so of course Mario gives her the paper money, and she's like, "I don't want this garbage." And then there's always a bigger fish. So a large woman in like red latex with spikes just appears out of nowhere, and she picks up this old lady and fucking throws her into traffic. That old lady is dead. If she didn't get fried by the electrical wires on the way down, she got run over by a fucking car. This lady's name is Big Bertha. We don't learn that until later. But so now she's robbing the Mario Brothers, and she takes the necklace that Luigi has, the crystal necklace. It looks like it's the only thing he has of value. And then she jumps away because we get a cut-in of her feet, and she has special boots on that allow her to jump super high. And did these boots seem familiar to you guys at all?
Oh, yes, they did, sir. Oh, yes, they did. Those are the boots from Face Off.
Exactly.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. In Face Off, in the super mega prison where their feet are magnetically attached to the floor.
Yeah.
It's the same prop, just painted differently.
I literally didn't notice.
Yeah. So that's a fun little bit of prop reusal history.
I was just thinking of the child's toy moon boots.
That shit didn't work. It just made you walk louder. I was so mad. I got those for Christmas one year, and I was picturing like I'm gonna be fucking doing backflips over houses and shit. And I fucking got them strapped on, and I go outside on the sidewalk, and I'm just walking, just like goosh, goosh, goosh. This isn't fun. It's just loud.
And if you actually got to jump with them, it's just a great way to sprain your ankle.
Yeah, or to just fucking bust your ankle bones out of your knees. It's just You're just walking on super hard plastic. So fuck moon boots. You're first. But she's got the real shit. It lets her she fucking rocket jumps away. Not rocket jumps like in Quake where she like shoots a rocket launcher at the ground. Like she has rocket powered boots.
Although this movie is so far off the mark with Super Mario Brothers that I wouldn't be surprised if that was in an earlier draft.
Yeah. So the boys have no money, no weapons. They don't know where they are. They don't even have the crystal anymore. So they're walking around. They don't know what's happening. And Mario is kind of like, "Oh, this Koopa guy, he seems like a real bad egg or something." And a street musician with an acoustic guitar happens to hear this, and he's like, "Oh, you guys don't like Koopa? I don't like Koopa either." And this is supposed to be Toad. Any way they change Toad is an improvement. Gotta say that. I hate Toad. I hate his little diaper. I hate that he's wearing a vest but no shirt. I hate his stupid hat or head or whatever it is. I hate his stupid voice. Fuck Toad. I hate him. So in this world, Toad is a street musician because they're like, how could we translate this obnoxiousness into a human being?
Well, let's make him a rockabilly folk singer. That's what we'll do. He'll be a rockabilly folk singer.
Yeah.
Who, Perfect.
Which isn't really fair because I love both rockabilly and folk. I'm being facetious. So Toad here is actually played by a guy by the name of Mojo Nixon, who's like kind of a semi-famous rockabilly guy, who's also been in like a million movies and was mentioned in a Dead Milkman song, Punk Rock Girl. So yeah, this is just kind of a fun little thing. He's only in the movie for like 30 seconds. So he starts playing his song about how nobody likes King Koopa, and like immediately gets arrested, and the cops they arrest the Mario Brothers too, and Mario kind of gets into it with one of the cops a little bit.
You can't arrest him for playing a song.
Yeah, you can't arrest the guy for playing a song. What are you doing? We got a rights here.
He's like really pushing him too.
Yeah, he's like gonna fight this fucking cop, but the cops overpower the Mario Brothers into their cop cars, and the cop cars in this world, I thought this was a nice touch. They just have like huge like bulldozer blades on the front, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah. It terrified me and made me think, I hope modern police don't see this movie and get any ideas.
Get any big ideas? Yeah, I'm sure they're researching it somewhere. Yeah. We're in the prison. BDSM prison guards disinfect the Mario Brothers and spray them off. And there's a little bit of like who's on first, where the Mario Brothers are like getting checked into prison, and the guard's like, "What's your name?" Mario. What's his name? Luigi Mario. Which one of you is Mario? We're both Mario. It's just, it's not great. It's not. So then they get kind of like bustled through the prison. They get hung up on one of those like size chart things by their wrists from the ceiling. And then a bunch of slots open in the wall, and like long, thin black barrels come out. So the Mario Brothers think this is a firing line. They think they're going to get murdered, but these are actually just cameras. They get thrown into a cell, and the cells are like industrial chicken farming. Like they're just little cubes just like stacked on top of each other. And Toad is in the cell above them. I guess that constitutes torture.
Yeah.
And Toad kind of fills them in a little bit on the history of the world. The world used to have a king, but he got de-evolved into fungus, and that's the fungus that's everywhere. So thanks, Toad. Thanks for the world building. And then the Mario Brothers demand a lawyer. Damn it, they've got rights. So they get called into the lawyer's office, and their lawyer is Koopa. But the Mario Brothers don't know it's Koopa because they're stupid. I don't know. There's pictures of him everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. So Koopa says he's their lawyer, and Koopa's like, "Oh, you got to watch out for that Koopa. He's a real egg-sucking, evil son of a snake."
Egg sucking, such a bad thing.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta suck an egg.
Yeah.
Also, I miss it in movies when villains self-identified as evil.
Yeah.
Let's bring that back. Where guys, I'm just evil. Yeah, I just am. I just like it. It's cool. I like the aesthetic. So he's kind of trying to like work out the location of the crystal. He's like, "Oh, you brothers are from another world. Well, I'm going to get you out of this prison. But what did you bring into this world with you? Did you have any necklace or anything?" He's trying to trick them. Eventually, he realizes that they lost the necklace, and then Koopa completely drops the act. He's like, "Ha! I'm actually Koopa, but you said Koopa was evil." And then Koopa responds to this by driving both of his thumbs into Luigi's eye sockets. It was kind of brutal, actually. Sweet. And there's a nice little character
That's pretty evil. That's pretty evil, to be fair.
That's pretty evil. Yeah. There's a nice little character thing. They never draw like too much attention to it, but there's kind of a nice character thing that Koopa is a huge germaphobe. Like every time he touches a surface, he like has like a little hanky that he touches it with, and he's always like disinfecting his hands and stuff, which I thought was kind of a funny, just like a little thing. So he orders the brothers to be taken to the Devo chamber, and at first I was like, "Oh, they're gonna whip it," but turns out Devo means de-evolution chamber. So we're in the Devo chamber, and there's like a big chair in the middle with a bunch of gizmos and gadgets and whatnot attached to it. Toad he's first in line on the chopping block. They put Toad into the chair, and they push the chair back into like a big electric atom smasher or whatever, and they have a little dial, and the dial has an evolve and a devolve setting, and they take it all the way to devolve, so Toad's screaming in agony. So I'm like, maybe this Koopa guy is not so bad if he's gonna kill Toad. So eventually the machine does its dirty work, and Toad is not dead. He's been de-evolved into a Goomba. Now when I say Goomba, what do you guys think of?
Italian
mushroom
stereotypes. What?
No.
Yeah, I think of a little brown mushroom guy that walks around.
Same.
Not in this movie.
Yeah, me too. Definitely not the other thing I said.
Yeah.
Reptilians.
Yeah. They're like, in this movie, they're like reptilians. They have like a really tiny head and a huge body and a very like reptile-y aspect and like a little mouthful of sharp teeth.
Will potentially get drafted by the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a quick story.
Go on.
Many years ago, my club hired a doorman who, it was pointed out to me, I'm surprised I didn't get here first, but it was pointed out to me by one of our regular customers that our doorman, with his broad shoulders, small head, and underbite, looked a lot like a Goomba from the Super Mario Brothers movie. So we used to call him Goomba behind his back, and it finally got back to him that he got called Goomba by this group of customers. Thankfully, my name was left out of it, but he was like, I'm not even Italian. So
didn't get it. Bullet dodged.
Did not get it. Bullet dodged.
I had a friend in middle school whose mom was a super heavy smoker, and she was like younger than my mom, but she looked really old because she was so wrinkly because she smoked constantly. And I told him that his mom looked like a Goomba from the Super Mario Brothers movie, just because she was like very small and like shrunken from all the smoking. Anyway, for some reason, the de-evolution ray also gives Toad a new outfit. Don't know why. And I gotta say, as weird as like an artistic choice, the prosthetic, it looks great. It fucking looks great. Like I'm guessing the way they did it is they have, you know, the actors and like actual head is in the chest of this like big armature that they put clothes on, and then he's like controlling the prosthetic from inside. But it looks really good. It's amazing that this movie has CGI that looks like such fucking dog shit, but the prosthetics look amazing, and I think that's like a strong, you know, strong endorsement of the power of practical effects. So he's a Goomba now, and Koopa kind of explains to the Mario Brothers that Goombas are dumb, but they're also very loyal and very strong. And they kind of mockingly, they give Toad his harmonica back, because being a folk rocker, he has one of those little harmonica thingies where like it's around your neck. You know, he's got one of those, so we can tell which one is Toad.
Is it headgear? I don't know. Geez, Mom, do I have to wear this thing to school?
Koopa kind of explains that it's a de-evolution ray. He's kind of like, and I myself am evolved from the Tyrannosaurus Rex, king of dinosaurs. Okay. So does that mean in this world, all of these like humans were different dinosaurs, but they all ended up looking like humans, but they also hate humans? I don't know.
What would happen if, sidebar, what would happen if you de-evolutionized just your dick?
You'd probably just have like an ape dick.
I want to know.
Well, let me tell you, I recently learned that the lotion I've been jacking off with was de-aging lotion.
Oh my god!
So now I got a little baby dick. Fuck. Got a little baby dick. My balls have to drop again. Oh, so now I got to find some aging lotion to check off with.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think there's
not a lot of that out there.
I know. Turns out people just want to de-age.
You're just going to have to go to like a tanning booth and put sunblock on everything but your wiener.
I did once in the early 2000s. There was a trend where lotion had like glitter in it.
Yeah.
So for a while, I did have a very glittery penis.
Now I gotta know: was that a deliberate decision on your part, or was this just any port in a storm? Oh,
the first time, no. The first time was an accident, but you know, necessity is the mother of invention, and it was kind of nice having a dick that looked like a magic wand.
I gotta say, I'm seriously considering doing that myself now. That's that's wonderful. I mean, since we're airing stories like this,
go on.
When I was younger, I pulled a calf muscle, and I stayed home and I rubbed icy hot on my calf muscle all day because I had the pulled calf muscle. And I did not do a good enough job washing my hands, because when I did what a teenager does when he's home alone all day, I found
watched
out what
the entirety of a Ken Burns documentary?
Yes, that's as a 14-year-old, when you're by yourself all day, you're gonna shame the Lord, and so of course I did. I did not wash my hands well enough when I took the icy hot off, and I gotta say, icy, not so bad. Hot, not so good. I did the research, so y'all don't have to.
Well, thank you. We appreciate your sacrifice. Yeah. Once I pulled a calf muscle, I was like a teenager. I think I was playing The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, just hanging out, just playing that game, and I had the worst muscle cramp of my fucking life. It like put me on the floor. I was like screaming. I was, and like my mom came in 'cause she heard me like rolling around and yelling, and she was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I was like, God, my muscle is cramping so hard. I think it's gonna tear." And she just looks at me and she goes, "That's what you get for not eating enough bananas," and then she just left, and that's all I got from her. What? Thanks, I guess. What the fuck?
That shit is bananas.
Yes, that shit is bananas. And you know what else is bananas? Is what happens next, which is that one of the engineers in the Devo chamber sneezes, and Koopa, being a bit of a germaphobe, is like, "Well, death sentence," and pushes him into the de-evolution chair and cranks it all the way back and de-evolves him to primordial soup, but he just looks like diarrhea. So the dude just turns into diarrhea all over the floor. And this is where the Mario Brothers are kind of like, "Oh, well, we don't want no part of that." So they like, they shove Koopa into the chair and he gets de-evolved, and all that happens to him is his eye gets kind of creepy for a second. Yeah. He has like a creepy eye, and that's all that really happens to him. So kind of a weird moment. I think that was cut, understandably.
Yeah, he just gets like the reptile eye for like a second, like, and everything is fine after that. Like
he doesn't turn into diarrhea at all.
No, he doesn't turn into diarrhea. He doesn't turn into a T-Rex, which is what you would think he would do.
Yeah. No, since he just explained, apropos of nothing, that he's evolved from the T-Rex.
He doesn't even get, like, some slightly reptilian features. He just gets that wonky eye for 1 second. You'd think occasionally he'd have, like, a forked tongue or start getting scales or something. A better movie would have done that.
Yeah, he does later have that stuff, but it's unclear as to whether that's a normal thing for him or a result of this.
Exactly.
His quick exposure to the... Yeah, there's also kind of a funny moment here where they pay some lip service to the idea of evolution. And of course, it's just scientifically completely wrong. But what was funny was the visual aid they were using was like a TV set. And I love the TV set. I love the idea that the prop master or art director or whomever was like, "This is not dystopian enough. This looks like a normal TV set." So they just put some studs on it. They just glued some fucking pyramid studs to the TV. I just thought that was really funny. It serves no function. It's just so you know, it's a little more dystopian.
That's right. In the future, the Bedazzler is going to be a big thing.
All the guys in Mad Max world. The most precious commodity, gasoline. Second most, hot glue. So, back in the prison, the bros are making a daring escape, and they see this fungus that's growing everywhere, and Luigi kind of looks at it, and the fungus, like, drops down in its, like, gross little fungusy proboscis, a bomb. And Luigi's like, "Oh, bro, they giving us a bomb." And Mario's like, "Don't touch it, Luigi," which is probably good advice for fungus.
Yeah.
I don't want Luigi to be, like, tripping balls for the rest of this movie.
I mean,
so
we've all seen Creepshow, right? That one part with Stephen King and the meteor, that could have been a different movie. Like, I still to this day get weird about touching like fungus in my refrigerator because of that fucking Stephen King part of Creepshow. Like, I'm afraid. Like,
I've got this really cool life hack. It's called taking care of your refrigerator so that the fungus doesn't start growing inside of it.
Yes.
Just a friendly suggestion.
Okay. There's that. We could do that.
I don't know, unless you're
it's
growing
not a
like
problem.
gooseneck in there.
It's not a problem so much anymore, but I have lived in a lot of places with a lot of different people where it's like, hey, if that's not your food, don't touch it. And then like 3 months later, you're like, okay, that's been in here for a while. I better check it. You open the Tupperware and it's like, oh, God. so
all right, fair enough.
It's not my own personal shit, you know. I've had a lot of roommates, man.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So the brothers, they zip line out of the prison. This prison has a zip line for some reason, and they zip line away.
You didn't know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Is that the zip line scene in Shawshank Redemption? Come on, man.
Yeah. Escape from Alcatraz.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're good enough, like, can you buy zipline rides from the commissary?
You get your zipline ticket in commissary, exactly.
Instead of cigarettes, the new prison currency is zipline tickets.
Keystering a zipline into prison.
There's like a prison lockdown raid because somebody was building an illegal zipline.
I feel like the zipline has to be anchored still in like someone's ass.
Yeah. That's how they set it up real fast.
Yeah. Quick setup. His job.
So they escape from the prison into the prison garage where all of the cop cars are, and they get into one of the cop cars, and Mario's like, "Oh, how are we gonna start it?" And Luigi hotwires the car or hacks the car or something. The car starts, and Mario is all such as, "How'd you do that, Luigi?" And Luigi's like, "Oh, it's because I sat on my butt all day playing video games." What? He knows how to hotwire a car because he was playing fucking Tetris
From
or something?
Different world?
Yeah, what? Like, GTA wasn't even out yet, and he's like, "Yeah, video games taught me how to steal a car."
You know, the 90s.
The 90s. So, although Grand Theft Auto Mushroom Kingdom would be pretty cool.
Would be amazing.
Yeah.
Please, Nintendo.
Well, I remember when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, and it was like a huge phenomenon. I think it was Shigeru Miyamoto joked that Mario will never shoot hookers, like joking that there would never be a Grand Theft Auto game, but Luigi did just hotwire a car, just steal a cop car. So they start driving away, and as they're driving, there's like a little monitor in the car, and an APB comes up that the Mario Brothers are wanted, and use of unnecessary force has been authorized, which I thought was pretty funny. So then there's a chase sequence. It's a chase sequence, and confusingly, our heroes are in a cop car, being pursued by cop cars that all look identical. So it's a very confusing and unclear. There's like cars just like crashing around for no reason. And then there's a part where like the Mario Brothers car gets on top of another car, and they're getting chased by the police. Why don't they just drop some banana peels? don't they have any green shells?
Very true.
This is in the days before Mario Kart, so perhaps they had the idea while watching this chase scene. I doubt it.
So, instead of, since they have nary a red shell, what they do is they, like, speed up really quick while there's cops on either side of them, so the cops, like, shoot each other with their... the cops in this world have, like, flamethrower guns that just shoot a single ball of fire. And so the point is here, Mario kills some cops. They kill, like, 8 cops. So, yeah, Mario's a cop killer, straight up.
But not hookers, damn it. But not hookers.
That's because Mario respects sex work, by God.
Fuck yeah.
Why do you think he hangs out with Birdo?
Exactly.
So the Mario Brothers kill a bunch of cops, and then they're trying to escape, and they go through a tunnel that says it leads to the desert. And then they're off the power grid because the cars take power from like these low-hanging cables. So they fly out of the city into this wasteland. And we kind of get like a large, like a distant shot that the city is like an oasis in the midst of a vast, lifeless, waterless fucking desert. So they're falling, their car is plummeting to the ground, and the fungus stretches out and catches the car, boing, kind of bungees them. They're safe. It stops their car a few feet from the ground, so they jump out into the desert, and they start a wandering. So this is where we cut back to the mud bath, which also has the best line in the movie, which is where Dennis Hopper says, "You know what I love about mud? It's dirty and clean at the same time." The iconic line of the movie. Maybe the most iconic line in any movie.
Literally the most iconic line in the movie. Everyone remembers it.
Yeah. Not just me. Yeah. I'm not weird.
Yeah, not just Will. That'd be so weird if only Will remembered that.
Yeah.
Like
he says, "You know what I love about mud? It's dirty and clean at the same time." Looks at the camera and then says, "Will."
Also his senior quote.
Also, he has my face.
Yeah.
So he's in the mud bath, and then Iggy and Spike, his goons report in. His goons with their tiny glasses and their like braided mullets and their suit jackets. These guys just look like they're like in a white guy hip hop group. Like,
yeah, definitely. They have a look, but but as a twist, they're in a white guy hip hop group, but they're also like Eastern European, so they don't quite get the fashion.
Bro, you listen to this beat, bro. It's premium beat.
Bro, it's fat beat, bro. It's fat beat.
Like, they're gonna rap at you, but they're also gonna try to sell you their EP and also some stereo equipment to listen to it on.
That's right. They're gonna rap, but it's all gonna be in Kazakh, so you have no idea if it's any good or not.
And they only rap while squatting.
Yeah.
So they report to Koopa that they lost the plumbers. The plumbers are in the desert. Koopa is not too happy. So then we cut to what I have in my notes as girl jail. It's like I think it's supposed to be where the Goombas sleep because there's like giant beds everywhere. It's later referred to as Goomba Barracks. But Princess Daisy is in here along with Mario's girlfriend and several other women. I think earlier it was mentioned that there had been young women disappearing in Brooklyn.
Yes.
For the last few months. So, yeah, there's all of these women in here.
Because Iggy and Spike are not good at their job.
Correct. Because, as they say, all mammals look alike because they're speciest. Although I guess that would be more of phylist? Is mammalia a phylum? Not sure. Beyond the scope of this podcast. So, Lena, Koopa's evil girlfriend. I don't think
anyone's coming to this podcast for hard science, so I think we're off the hook.
So Lena, Koopa's girlfriend, comes in to get Daisy, and I just gotta say here, without a scrap of irony, the dress that Lena wears in this scene is fucking cool. It's just really good costume design. It's like a dark blue with like thick white piping. It's very form-fitting. It's a very cool dress. Like, if I saw, like, a woman wearing that in the street, I would be like, that is a good fucking outfit. That is a good look. I have an interest in fashion. As I just mentioned, I used to work in, like, a high-end clothing store. It's just a really cool dress. That's it. That's all I have to say about that. So, she takes Daisy, presumably up to Koopa's penthouse, and then from here, we cut back to the Devo chamber, because Koopa is punishing Iggy and Spike. And he's got one of them on the de-evolution chair.
He's got to crack that whip.
One, yeah. And the other one, who's not in the de-evolution chair, is like, oh, have a nice trip. See you next fall. That one-liner is not applicable in this situation. He's not tripping. He's not falling. He's literally sitting strapped into a chair. Weird moment. Don't know if the joke is that they're dumb or if I'm just overthinking this or what.
I think the people who wrote it were underthinking it. I think that's what happened there. It was being underthought.
I think you're probably correct.
They're like our target audience. They're what? They're 10? What's a thing 10-year-olds say? And somebody just spit that one out. They're like, well, my kid at home says have a nice trip, see you next fall whenever he trips somebody. And the person writing it didn't hear the last half of that sentence. So he's like, yeah, have a nice trip, see you next fall. Write that in. That's brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
What's it mean? Who cares? I'm on a fucking deadline here.
He's about to get de-evolved, but there's a twist. He's not getting de-evolved, he's getting evolved. So Koopa evolves both of his henchmen, and now they're much smarter. Why doesn't everyone do this?
Yeah.
Right? That seems like that would give you a pretty significant advantage. So Koopa evolves them so they're smarter, and by smarter I mean they talk in like very movie-y scriptwriter smart guy talk.
Yeah, very erudite.
It's hard to write the dialogue of someone that's smarter than you because you're just guessing, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, perchance, mine dictator, might we formulate our own method of capture of these brothers Mario? That's kind of what I think they're kind of going for like a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern type thing, but it kind of falls flat. It's not great. It could have been a really funny moment, but... So they're supposedly super smart now. Koopa sends them into the desert to track down the brothers Mario. And then we're back in Koopa's penthouse where we see Daisy getting dressed up into her damsel outfit where she's wearing like a very flowy, very thigh-clingy dress, kind of reminiscent of like Fay Ray in King Kong, you know, like a dress that's specifically made to stick to a woman's thighs in case they stand in front of a heavy fan, which she does often in this movie. So we kind of learn from Lena that Daisy's mother smuggled Daisy to the human world when Koopa took over and de-evolved the king, Daisy's father. And then we get like a quick moment of the Mario Brothers in the desert, just bickering in the desert. And that's the whole scene. Just them kind of bickering in the desert. Just in case you forgot, like, hey kids, the Mario Brothers, not dead of dehydration. Don't worry.
In the desert, they're fine. They're still plumbers.
With nothing to plumb.
Nothing to plumb.
A shame. So back in Koopa's penthouse, Koopa is talking to like the chief of police, and has an experimental handheld de-evolution gun, and it looks like the Super Scope, which is kind of a funny touch. I like that.
Yeah.
Those
were still
cool.
Pretty new at the time and not selling well, so they were probably unsold Super Scopes. That they got a good deal on them.
I wish that were still the case. They're fucking expensive now.
Yeah. Oh, are they? That's It's probably because they didn't sell a lot of them to begin with.
I may have told this. Yeah.
It's probably a landfill somewhere of like billions of them.
I may have told this story on the podcast before, but in college I had a friend named Scott who bought like a wooden plaque that you hang an antique gun on and took the gun off and mounted a Super Scope to it. It was super cool. Daisy is in Lena's chamber in Koopa's penthouse, and Lena brings in a little like baby dinosaur creature on a leash, and this is Yoshi. It's supposed to be Yoshi. Yoshi is terrifying. Not cute. I think they way missed the mark on this. It's just like a gross little dinosaur. And Koopa is like, he's harmless. Just don't move your hands like a wounded creature. Not sure what that particular hand movement looks like. Also, Yoshi eats fruit. That's like his defining feature is Mario writes him. He's a dinosaur. He eats fruit.
He also eats enemies.
And enemy. Yeah, but
usually spits them back out.
Yeah, he usually spits them back out. Yeah.
At least the bones.
Mm-hmm.
If they have shells, yeah.
Like an owl.
Yeah.
Like an owl.
Yoshi pellets.
Well, in some games when Yoshi eats the enemy, they just become an egg. But the fruit he actually like digests.
Yeah, he rebirths them.
Yeah. To become as Yoshi.
Yeah.
He makes them clean. So, and then Koopa comes face to face with Daisy and kind of menaces her, and he's like, "Oh, you're a little girl. You know what they say about little girls? They always remember their first kiss from a lizard." Who says that? Who says that? Who says that?
I've never
fucking heard that.
I'm gonna guess. Pedophile lizards. Survey says, ding! Pedophile lizards say that.
So fucked up.
I'm gonna second guess nobody. Survey says, ding, nobody. Okay.
I'm gonna guess penis, and then Steve Harvey looks at camera, makes a big face. You can't say that on TV. You can't say I need a minute. Oh, help me.
You can't say that on every episode of Family Feud.
Survey says, ding, penis. And then the crowd loses their mind. The man found a winning formula. He found a winning formula to be on mute in a doctor's office. So good for him. I'm happy for him.
I gotta know, like, do you think, speaking of Steve Harvey, do you think Steve Harvey, like, always wears a nice suit? Like, is he cutting his lawn in, like, a really badass suit? Is he, like, on the treadmill in the gym in his fucking gator shoes? Like, because I've never seen Steve Harvey, like, dressed like a normal dude. And I think if I saw him in sweats, I would be like, this is imposter. This is a fucking imposter.
I choose to believe that he does. He has, like, a sleeping suit, like, made out of flannel. Like to sleep in.
But
he has a
it's like a perfect double-breasted, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Cut really nice, you know? Sorry, back to the Mario Brothers.
Back to the Mario Brothers. Daisy resists Koopa. She kind of pushes him away, and then Koopa gets all like lizardy. Like briefly, he like becomes more like animalistic, but only for a second. Not sure what that's about. Maybe he needs more mud. It's dirty and clean at the same time. And also this scene is weird because, like, Koopa's threats against Daisy, it's not explicit, but they feel very sexual. Like, he is trying to kiss her, and when he's like, they remember their first kiss from a lizard, he, like, flicks his, like, forked tongue. Yeah. I don't know. It's just weird that this movie had...
That's not a mode that Dennis Hopper has often, you know? He's not, like, a salacious dude. Like, if this was a different actor, if it was, like, Willem Dafoe doing this, you'd be like, oh, he's just Willem Dafoe being Willem Dafoe. It's not trying to be sexual, he just is. But, nah, Dennis Hopper
because he has a confusingly large penis.
He does.
Yeah.
Or so I have heard. I think you told that story off the podcast, but people can Google it.
I've told it on the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Hey, did I ever tell you that I used to have a pompadour and it made me look like Big Boy?
Fuck off! You're off the pod. I am gonna be like a Roman emperor, and I'm going to go through to all our old episodes and cut you out of all of them as though you never existed. Fuck you and your fucking Bob's Big Boy story. Anyway, yeah, if this was Anthony Hopkins or something, would this read as sexual? I don't know. It's just weird that this kids movie has, like, implied threats of sexual violence.
Yeah, no, this
really
is like
weird
a deliberate decision that Dennis Hopper is making as an actor, which is weird. And then a director saw that and was like, yeah, keep menacing her sexually in this movie aimed at 8-year-olds.
They gotta learn sometime.
Keep menacing her sexually in this dystopian sci-fi film aimed at 8-year-olds that somehow still has strippers in it. Go on. Kids got to learn.
They got to learn. So then we're in the desert, much like in The Wizard. It's two brothers wandering in the desert, and the goons are trailing after them in a wedge car, which is weird because we just established that in this world, cars don't work off the power grid, so I don't know. And they see Mario and Luigi in the distance, and they make a plan. They're going to go get them. However, even though they're much smarter now, apparently the evolution process, they evolved beyond the knowledge of how to work a car, because they drive that fucking car right off a cliff, and Lakitu is not there to fish them out and give them take 3 coins. So they like plummet off the cliff, and I think they land in quicksand, because they seem to be like waist deep in like sand. And the Mario and Luigi find them, and the goons are like, halt thee, ne'er-do-wells, and submits to our authority. And the brothers are like, how about instead we tie you up, because we've got the jump on you. So they tie up the goons, and they the goons kind of establish, the goons tell Mario and Luigi the whole plan, what's happening, and the reason why Koopa can't go through the whole portal is it was sealed, but the Scapellis opened it. I don't know if it was intentional. I feel like there was originally more business with the Scapellis that got cut, because they just keep like being mentioned, but then there's no like denouement about who the Scapellis are, why they're doing this, how they're involved with Koopa.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like no
it's just their
Scapelli payoff.
The Scapellis in this movie are what I used to do when I was a child. My cousins lived in a house, and next door to that house there was a cat. That cat's name was Spiffy. And whenever my young cousins would get in trouble, they would blame it on Spiffy. And then I picked up that habit. Whenever my mom would be like, who made a mess in the kitchen? It's Spiffy. I would blame my cousin's neighbor's cat. Anyway, Scapelli is this movie's Spiffy. Wait, there's already a portal. I don't know, the Scapellis did it. Wait. Why is there a giant hole in the middle of Brooklyn? The Scapellis did it. It was Spiffy. Anyway, the goons and the Mario brothers, they make a temporary truce to work together because they want to get out of the desert, and they both need the crystal. Of course, only one of them can keep it, but they both need it. So a temporary truce. The Mario brothers describe the woman who took the crystal. That's Big Bertha, the bouncer at the Boom Boom Club. So they get back to the city.
Really quick timeout. I just want to say, for those of you who are fans of the source material, they've adapted a few characters from the video game. For whatever reason, Big Bertha in the video game is a fish that eats you. I just thought that was a weird decision. I just thought that of all the characters that are like, sub bosses, mini bosses, they could have had Birdo in this. They could have had Mouser. They could have had any of. They chose the fish that eats you in one level of Mario 3. Yeah. Go on.
And also, Boom Boom is a mini boss, right? At least in the later games, like they could have. And then there's a female counterpart to Boom Boom, so that could have, I forget, Pom Pom, I think?
Yeah.
So she could have been Pom Pom, I don't know, whatever. Mario and Luigi, as well as Iggy and Spike, they find a dump. Apparently the city just dumps their garbage in the desert, like so much Phoenix, Arizona. Well, if the desert people dump their garbage in the desert, the really deserty people are going to make art out of it. It's just inevitable. It's just what they do. They find their tools, and they use their tools to knock out the guards of the dump truck. I think maybe the guards are supposed to be sniffets, but they have like weird like BDSM leather like gas masks on. So the Mario Brothers knock them out, take the masks, drive the dump truck back to the city. So then we're in the club. We're in the Boom Boom Club. Mario and Luigi walk in, and they're in leisure suits. Luigi's in a red leisure suit. Mario's in a yellow leisure suit.
Because why put them in their most associated colors? That would be crazy.
Yeah. I was mad about that, but they do get their colors later, and it's like a big moment. So I kind of get why they did it that way then. Yeah. So they're in these terrible leisure suits. They're in the club with Iggy and Spike. And then in this weird alien world, what's playing at the club? I got the power! For some reason, I Got the Power is playing, and there was a moment here that was cut where there's a close-up on a dancer who is showing a lot of skin. She's basically wearing like a metal bra and like a metal like high-waisted thong panties, and like the camera like lingers on her. It's really weird, and like her panties have like a fake tail, and Mario is like, check out the tail on her, and they cut that because, as I said, Mario can't fuck. Can't. Mario only gives oral pleasure.
I will say that they probably cut that because Mario giving pleasure to this dancer who has a tail creates all kinds of real-world horrifying implications of having sex with a person with a tail.
How do you mean?
I mean, how do they do it? Do they do it doggy style? Where's the tail go when they do it doggy style? Does she tuck it under her legs like dogs do? Is it up? I don't know. Now I'm picturing Mario having sex with a lady with a tail. Great. I hope you are happy.
Very unsettling.
Since you fucked a clown, I assumed you'd also fucked somebody with a tail. So I just thought you'd have first-hand experience. No, the sore spot? Okay.
No, I'm just running over my to-do list in my head and adding that.
Just revising.
Oh, I mean, if they have a cool enough personality, I won't say no. Tail's not a deal breaker.
You like hearts, not body parts.
That's right. Hearts, not parts, baby.
So a lot of from this extended edition, a lot of the edits were, I think, to get a lower rating and like kind of more preserve like the family-friendly image of Mario. So yeah, they cut him commenting on a woman's body. They cut him soul kissing his girlfriend. They cut him utilizing a glory hole in the bathroom.
There was that scene where he put a baby on a spike. They cut that out.
Yeah, they had to.
He sticks his dick in a glory hole and it makes the warp pipe sound.
No.
Every time the other person sucks,
and then he pulls it out and there's a piranha plant sucking on it.
Oh no! They do have those. They do have some DSLs.
No,
they do have DSLs.
They really do. They really do.
Yeah. In the club, Mario sights Big Bertha, and he decides to seduce her. So he goes up to her and he's like, "Hey, baby, you ever been objectified by a construction worker?" And she just fucking punches him right in the fucking face. He is not deterred, however, being a creepy Brooklyn guy. He gets right back on that horse, goes back up to her, asks her to dance, and he's like, "You want to punch me some more? Ha ha!" And she's like, "I'll punch you all you want if you dance with me." So it kind of works. So they're dancing, and she has the crystal on a necklace in her giant cleavage. The way this is framed, I feel like there's supposed to be a comedic moment here where it's like, "Ha, look, Mario's dancing with a great big ugly fat lady," but this is not an unattractive woman.
No.
By any means. I just think in the 90s, like, shit just got so far off the rails. So thank God for Sir Mix-a-Lot for setting us straight.
A year later, Sir Mix-a-Lot would come along and remind us that we all like butts.
And remind us that we don't want knock-kneed bimbos walking like hoes.
That's right.
So they're dancing, and Mario's trying to, like, get the necklace, and he, like, tries to get it with he, like, dips her and tries to get it with his teeth out of her boobs because she's wearing the crystal as a necklace. Eventually, he does get the necklace, and there's a deleted scene where, oh my fucking God, Iggy and Spike start rapping. They're just in the club, and they start standing on the bar, and they're like, well, my name is Spike, and I'm here to say, I think King Koopa is not okay. That's not exactly what they say, but that's...
Yeah, pretty much.
It may as well be.
Yeah.
So one of these goons not only looks like Lin-Manuel Miranda, he raps like Lin-Manuel Miranda. Poorly.
Okay, I gotta say,
Go on.
I've seen, this is the first time I've seen this extended cut, and this is definitely a deleted scene that I had never even heard of before I watched this viewing, and I thought I thought my brain had exploded and I had a stroke while I was watching this because this happened. I'm like, there's just no way. There's no way. I had to like pause it and like get up and like pace around and like take my fucking vitals for a second before I like sat back down and watched more of the Iggy and Spike rapping scene.
You had to get really quiet to make sure you didn't hear Rod Serling doing an outro. Like, this man doesn't realize he has died in...
Do I smell burning
the Twilight
hair?
Zone. Yeah. So they start fucking rapping. It's terrible. And because it's subversive rap, they get arrested. They get carted off by the cops. Who I guess most of these cops seem to be on the music beat.
Yeah,
that's a big problem.
There's not so much a Vice Squad in Dino. What is this place called? Like Dino Hatton, they keep calling it in interviews and shit. Not so much a Vice Squad, not so much a drug problem, but music. That's where all the police funds are going.
So they're rapping about King Koopa and how he's an authoritarian fascist. Toad's music was the same, and both of their songs, and also something Koopa himself mentions. The whole reason Koopa wants to merge the dimensions is because their dimension is running out of resources. They're running out of water, they're running out of food, the whole world is like a desert. Keep that in mind. I'm going to bring that shit up at the end, because boy, do I have a mind-blowing detail about that. Anyway, so the Koopa cops raid the club because I guess they heard the power of Iggy and Spike's freestyle raps. So the club is getting raided. There's cops everywhere. Mario and Luigi make a run for it. They get cornered by a cops, and then Big Bertha opens the door, looking right at Mario, and she punches a cop that's behind him.
Sick.
So yeah, awesome. Welcome to the Resistance, Comrade Bertha. And she ushers like Mario and Luigi into a side room because she's on their side now.
Yeah.
And she gives them a pair of her super jumpy boots, the like rocket boots. So she kind of like teaches them how to use them. She gives Mario a big wet kiss, and then they jump away. They jump away, and then outside, they're up on like a catwalk over the city, and the fungus tries to give Luigi a bob-omb again. Now, when I say a bob-omb, I mean, this is actually a pretty faithful representation. It looks like the enemy. It's like a little bomb with eyes and little feet and like a wind-up key. And they call it a...
legit looks like... Yeah? It legit looks like they made them as a piece of like merchandise from Super Mario 2 where they premiered. Like that's it. Yeah. I kind of want to own one, and I know there's got to be a bunch of them out in the world that I could buy. So
yeah, I have a very similar one. It doesn't wind up because it was full of candy.
Yeah,
but I have a very similar.
It was not filled with explosives.
No, it's just candy.
Just candy.
Yeah. Although everyone in the movie calls it a bomb, but I always thought it was Bob-omb. Like the joke is like it's a bomb named Bob-omb. I don't know.
I don't know.
I always said Ba-bomb. I always said Ba-bomb because in the cartoons and in this movie and even in Scott Pilgrim, they always said Ba-bomb. So I just went with what they said. Yeah.
It's spelled Bob-omb because in Super Mario 64, you can like talk to them. And it's BOB-OMB. It doesn't matter. Completely immaterial. So the fungus offers Luigi a bob-omb. Mario kind of is like, come on, Luigi, we don't got time for that. And they go off. They're making their escape. Oh, I forgot to mention this. While they're escaping the club, they actually play meme song, open the door, get on the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur, is playing, and like the club is like line dancing while the police are raiding it. Just a fun little thing for you there.
Also, this song was like already 2 years old, maybe 3 when this fucking movie came out. So I don't know why they chose, I mean, other than there's dinosaurs in the movie. But then also the version of this song they use in the movie isn't even the version by Was Not Was. That's the fucked up part. They had George Clinton put a band together and they covered it. So I don't know if they, like, the movie didn't want to lay out that tall Was Not Was cash for the original version or what.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that this was a George Clinton cover. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
So, the Mario Brothers, they jump off the catwalk and they land in yet another dump truck. Because, you know, you can always recycle a good set piece.
Yeah.
This is a city with a waste management problem, is what it is. Like, there's just dump trucks full of shit riding around. Maybe if they recycled some of these dump trucks, they wouldn't be running out of resources. But
in a dark foreshadowing of the film's future, the Mario Brothers end directly in the garbage. And wouldn't you know it, this particular dump truck dumps all of its garbage at Koopa's tower, where the garbage goes.
Yeah.
Although it's already been established they dump the garbage in the desert. I don't know. Maybe they were doing a pickup. I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. So they're riding the garbage truck to the throne room. We also get a moment in the throne room, like the actual throne, not Koopa's throne room, the previous throne room, where now there is it's like a white tiled room with a wooden chair in the middle and a really disgusting growth of fungus from the ceiling. Yeah. And this used to be the king. And there's like a big like core, like a heart that like drips down, and Koopa is taunting it and explaining his plans for the 5th or 6th time in this movie. All right,
and
fungus, here's what I gotta merge the dimensions.
It's kind of a throwback to Mario 3, because every time you go to visit the castle in one of the levels of Mario 3, the king is always turned into something different. Like, there's a spider and he's, like, lowering down on the throne, or there's a dog and he's sitting on the throne, or so on and so forth. But it was kind of just a weird callback to Mario 3. You know, that's the point where they choose to do something kind of game accurate. None of the other shit.
Yeah, and yet Mario never gets to wear a cute little frog suit.
Maybe next year.
The Mario Brothers make their way into Koopa's tower on the ground floor, and there's pipes everywhere, and Luigi says it's a plumber's nightmare, and Mario says must have been a non-union job, which is actually a pretty funny line.
Very funny.
Yeah, a lot of the lines of this movie are just weird, like, have a nice trip, see you next fall, to the guy strapped in a chair, but that was actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
So there's pipes everywhere, and then, Mario and Luigi, they actually get to use their plumbing powers again. Instead of just hitting dudes in the fucking skull with wrenches, they actually do some plumbing. They realize these pipes are the heating system, so they overload the heating system to make everything cold. And if these people are all supposed to be reptiles, this would actually be a brilliant plan, because the reptiles would all just fall asleep if they're all cold-blooded. Yeah. So if they're all exothermic, they would just fucking fall asleep. But it just makes them cold. Anyway, just remember that. They overload the heating system, all of the pipes are freezing over, and then they hear a rumbling. The Goombas are coming. And they're like, we need to disguise ourselves. With what? Anything on hand. And they open some lockers and they find something. And then they get in and then the next we see them, elevator doors open. We have a low angle hero shot. The choir sings, ah! And we see them and they're in like plumbing uniforms and their classic colors. It's actually a pretty cool moment.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's actually a pretty cool reveal.
Felt cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. Yeah, kind of like a realistic interpretation, and I don't know why they didn't just give them overalls. They're wearing like a they're like jumpsuits.
Yeah, they're wearing coveralls, but not overalls. It's the weirdest decision.
Yeah, kind of a weird choice, but it still looks cool. I like the design of their costumes. It's like an interesting interpretation.
I don't hate it.
Yeah. So then they hide in the elevators with the Goombas are coming in. The Goombas aren't very observant, and the elevator is stopping at every floor. More and more Goombas getting on. Oh, eventually they're going to get noticed. We cut back to the top of the tower where Lena, Koopa's evil girlfriend, she now has the crystal. She now has the crystal. Back in the elevator, more and more Goombas. There's elevator music playing. Luigi has an idea. He like gently starts swaying the Goombas by hand, and then they all start dancing to this elevator music, and that's how they distract the Goombas. While all the Goombas are dancing, the Mario Brothers climb out of the top of the elevator and they make their escape. So
I love that scene so much.
It's pretty funny. Yeah. It's pretty funny. So back in Daisy's cell, yeah.
At first, the music they're listening to, I thought it was a sound-alike of some of the music from Super Mario, like the first Super Mario game, because there's like that's the underwater theme, and I thought, they just got a sound-alike, but no, it turns out that that's like a real polka song done by Frankie Yankovic, according to the music credits. So apparently, the Mario theme is the sound-alike here, and that was weird to me. Like, why didn't they just?
It sounds like the
use
water
their
theme.
own theme music.
So we cut to Daisy's cell where a Goomba comes in bringing a plate of raw meat for Yoshi. Again, Yoshi eats fruit, so whatever. So he brings in a plate of raw meat.
No, cute cartoon Yoshi eats fruit. Terrifying nightmare fuel Yoshi eats raw meat.
They really Howard the Ducked up Yoshi.
Scarier than the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park Yoshi.
I read that so the Yoshi, the art direction is bad, much like Howard the Duck. Sorry, Zach. The art direction is bad, but it's a good puppet. It moves pretty realistically. And apparently in today's money, that the Yoshi puppet or animatronic cost just a hair under $1 million in today's money.
Holy crap.
Just for the Yoshi puppet. Yeah.
And that puppet is so fucking useless to the whole movie. Like, you could pull him out.
Yeah.
Nothing changes.
That definitely feels like one of those things that was added to a movie because they're like, we can make a toy of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But then they forgot to do the thing where they write in a reason for him to be there. Yeah.
I was like waiting the whole movie to be like, oh, and then at the end, Daisy, I was like, Yoshi's kind of small. Gesundheit. Yoshi's kind of small. How is she going to ride out of here on a Yoshi to make her escape? Spoiler alert, not what happens. So, she forgot no reason for Yoshi.
She forgot to feed him 5 enemies, so.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Lena comes in, she's wearing like a slinky dress, and like the back part of her dress plunges way down. And Lena is a little jealous because Koopa keeps saying he needs Daisy, and I guess Lena has interpreted this to mean he needs her romantically. She's jealous of Daisy. I don't know. Koopa has explained his plan like 9 times. Lena needs to fucking listen. So she kind of walks up on Daisy, and then she pulls a knife that she had concealed in her ass cleavage on Daisy and like is holding it to her neck and is going to kill Daisy. And then Yoshi uses his sticky tongue to trip Lena, and then she fucking stabs Yoshi in the neck.
Oh my
god. And the sticky...
totally forgot about that part, dude.
You didn't forget about it. You blocked it out.
Yeah.
It's different.
No!
Yeah.
Me as a kid.
Yeah, Yoshi has a long sticky tongue with which he eats small wounded animals? I don't know.
Orphans, judging by the way this fucking nightmare fuel puppet looks.
Judging by his cold, soulless shark eyes.
Yes.
So he eats innocent woodland creatures.
He eats orphans, and they're only orphans for a few minutes because he eats their parents right in front of them.
Oh my god. But he leaves them alive.
That's right. To contemplate for a moment that they're orphans. And once he knows that they know that they're alone in the world, then he can eat them. It seasons the meat. He ends
their suffering. Oh my god.
Oh god.
So Yoshi Wise gets stabbed in the neck, but it buys Daisy time to escape. We cut back to the elevator where the Mario Brothers have left their super jump rocket shoes. Those seem pretty useful.
Yeah.
Seem pretty useful. Like dude, a guy in a horror movie, like, I'll leave my gun right here.
It's a shoes off house.
You're right. Shoes off house, yeah. The Mario Brothers are in like an elevator shaft because they've climbed out of the elevator. We kind of check back in with Daisy. She's running in the hallways, just running for her life, and a Goomba is there, and Goomba's gonna stop her, but then we realize this Goomba has a harmonica. Wait, this is Toad, And it seems like he might actually be trying to help her.
Or is he perhaps getting some orthodontry done? I don't know.
Or perhaps, yeah. So this is the same Goomba
Taking care of that underbite.
This is the same Goomba that brought raw meat, and she kind of sarcastically goes, "Oh, I'm a vegetarian. Can I get some vegetables?" And he's like, "Nah, nah, nah," because they don't really talk. And he leaves. So when she encounters him in the hallway, he's got a plate of vegetables. So she realizes he's trying to help. And then from behind her, like, Koopa guards are coming and they shoot fireballs at her, and Toad just explodes into a flame. He's just burning. Iggy and Spike run into Daisy and explain that they're on her side now. They try to whisk her away, but she breaks off to grab a fire extinguisher to extinguish Toad. So she extinguishes the shit out of him. It seems he survives, and then we go back to the Mario Brothers on the elevator shaft. There's fungus growing all over it. How are they going to cross the shaft? It's way too far. How are they going to get across? And Luigi's like, "Mario, we just got to jump. Come on, you just got to have some faith. You got to." And Mario's like, "No, Luigi, don't do it. You'll never make it." And Luigi runs and he jumps and Mario covers his eyes. "Oh no, Luigi." And then Mario opens his eyes and Luigi is just hovering in midair. And Luigi's like, "Look, bro, I told you just got to have faith. You just got to jump." And Mario just is now like, "Well, why not? I guess he was right." So Mario runs and gets ready to jump. And that's when Luigi realizes he's not magically hovering. A hook suspended in the air caught his belt buckle. And he's just caught. And then he's trying to get Mario to stop.
I got to cut in here, and I got to say, that is the first time I have heard it interpreted. I always interpreted it a different way. That, like, Luigi had hooked the hook to his belt and was fucking with Mario. And I was like, that's a brother relationship right there. Like, to get him to almost jump down an elevator shaft. No, I'm fucking with you. Here, put this hook on. But yeah,
I'm an only child, so I didn't
the way that you explained it is probably what happened. But
yeah. No, I swear, if you jump off the roof and you hold the umbrella, you'll float like Mary Poppins, I promise.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, how do you think they did it in the movie? Yeah. She had an umbrella, go on. So Mario runs and jumps too late while Luigi's telling him not to. Mario plummets down the elevator shaft, and then the fungus, it suddenly grows below him and into like a trampoline, and it boing bounces him back up. He manages to cross that way to the other side of the elevator shaft. And then we're back in the throne room. Daisy barges in. Yoshi is still there, knife in his neck. Daisy removes the knife, which you shouldn't do from a stab. What if you remove the knife and then there's just a geyser of blood and Yoshi just bleeds out?
Why?
But that's not what happens. Yoshi is fine. Daisy uses a computer that's in the room, and I didn't realize what was happening at first, but in this world, the computers appear to have a gun-based architecture. Instead of a mouse. Yeah, like earlier, we saw Koopa with just like a weird gun in his hand while he was just being evil about stuff, and I was like, oh, he's evil, so he's got a gun. But in this world, I instead of a mouse and keyboard, it's a screen, and you use a laser to like select things, and the gun is the laser. It's like you pull the trigger, and that's how you like click on things. Very inefficient if you have no depth perception.
The only thing I could think is that they were like, tie the Nintendo Light Zapper into this somehow. And then they're like, but we already have a zapper previous. Oh, okay. Well, we already built this thing, so let's just use it in the movie anyway.
Yeah, because this part has basically no effect on the plot. She uses an app on the computer to call Mario and Luigi through the Koopa Tower PA system. And she's like, Mario and Luigi, can you hear me? And they can hear her, but they can't respond because that's how a PA system works. And she's like, can you hear me? Can you hear me? So she knows how to use the gun computer, but she's apparently never. Yeah. She's never, when she goes to the grocery store and they're like, pick up on aisle 3, is she like, oh my God, are you okay? Do you guys need help? Just talking to no one. So Mario and Luigi are in like the ductwork, and Luigi stops and he sees a mushroom, and he's like, oh, we gotta trust the fungus, bro. And he picks a mushroom from the fungus because it's kind of like moving around, trying to get his attention. And the ductwork has begun to ice over because they overloaded the heat system with plumbing. I don't know. Anyway, they like kick open a window, and they leap out into the street. We cut back to Koopa Tower. the Koopa cops call Koopa and say, all right, we got your order to begin the extermination. Your forces are gathering. And Koopa's kind of like, well, I didn't order a genocide yet. And this is when Koopa puts together, Lena is jealous. She took the crystal and she's trying to like usurp his plan. So women are always trying to take over your evil plan for their own. Am I right, fellas? Am I right?
Women be usurping. Oh!
Mario breaks away from Luigi to rescue his girlfriend from girl jail. And Koopa captures Luigi and Daisy. The cops figure out what's going on and they take the crystal from Lena. So she no longer has the crystal. So in girl jail, Mario is on like a catwalk above. There's Goombas in there and he jumps off the catwalk and he like swing kicks a Goomba, which is the closest thing we're going to get in this movie to Mario jumping on top of a Goomba and defeat him with the power of jumping. So he swing kicks the guard. We go back to the tower. Koopa has he has the crystal, so now he wants the genocide to start. He rallies his army to go to there's like a meteor chamber where the meteor that killed the dinosaurs, the crystal is the final part of the meteor. Putting the crystal into the meteor is what will merge the dimensions. Come on, keep up, guys. Really common sense stuff here. Duh!
I mean, this is Meteor Crystal 101. Come on.
Yeah. So, back in girl jail, Mario is like, the girls are like, how are we going to escape? And Mario's like, I got away. And they take one of the giant Koopa mattresses. Mario opens up a vent, which is completely iced over. And all of the girls and Mario get on the mattress and they toboggan down the ice pipe and it makes the warp pipe sound. It's funny. And they're going down the pipe. Whoa! Goombas are chasing after them. Whoa! So they evade the Goombas and they exit the pipe. I think they land back onto the street, and here they reunite with Luigi and Daisy, who I guess escaped Koopa at some point.
No.
So, and the Koopa is here with a gun, and he corners them, and he's like, I've got you all dead to rights now. So behind Luigi, the fungus drops down a bullet bill. A little handheld bullet bill, and Luigi takes some rocket boots that were being sold at a nearby rocket boot stall, and he puts the bullet bill in it, and he shoots the rocket boot at Koopa. It like flies and just like kicks him in the chest. Yeah, Koopa gets shot in the chest. He kind of goes flying. He lands in like a large bucket that's like sort of suspended in the middle of the street, I guess. So Mario goes on there and he kind of wrestles with Koopa. Koopa drops the crystal and it like lands on the electrical grid above the street below him. Lena dives for it, gets electrocuted. Her hair gets all bright of Frankenstein, but she lives. So she has the crystal again. Mario tricks Koopa because he has not the crystal, but like the leather band that it was on, and he shows Koopa this, and Koopa thinks Mario has the crystal. Meanwhile, Luigi takes a bomb from the fungus, winds it up. The crowd starts losing their mind. Oh, he's got a bomb! He's got a bomb! And it starts very laboriously walking towards Koopa. Koopa's frozen with fear, and then the bomb like falls in a crack in the ground. So Koopa takes aim at Mario. He's gonna shoot. He's got him dead to rights. And then we cut to the meteor chamber. Lena is placing in the crystal. The wind is blowing. There's sparks flying. She's trying to force the crystal back into the meteor to merge the worlds. Why does it matter which one of them does it? I don't fucking know. So she puts the crystal into the meteor partway, and she gets fucking blasted off into a skeleton and like gets thrown into the wall. She's super duper dead.
So dead.
Yeah.
Instant fossil. That's how you make fossils
With hair.
according to this movie. Yes.
Yeah, electricity.
Human.
Yeah, just. Fuck. I also think it's funny that her hair is fossilized. Her hair bones get all fucking fossilized. So this is where Daisy and Luigi like followed her in there, and Daisy realizes that this is what was meant by only she can withstand the force. So she and Luigi are trying desperately to pull the crystal out of the meteor. Luigi's drilling it, he's wrenching it, he's pliering it, trying to get it out. They're having some trouble. And then we cut back to Koopa and Mario, and they're beginning to dissolve because the dimensions are merging. Luigi's still trying to get it out, and Luigi turns to the other girls that Mario freed from girl jail, and he's like, you gotta go warn Brooklyn. They cross through the portal, they cross to New York City, we cut to New York, the girls are trying to warn them, dimensions are merging, and they have a crowd, and the newscasters are like, oh, another dimension full of dinosaurs? Where was this skepticism when yesterday they were interviewing a lineman who fell off a pole and claimed he went to another dimension? They completely believed him. Oh, but when a woman says she went to another dimension populated by evolved dinosaurs, all of a sudden, it's a hysterical fantasy. #believe women. Believe women when they say they go to a different dimension full of populated by intelligent dinosaurs, but the dimensions begin to merge. Some Goombas show up.
You took a second to get there.
That happens?
You took a second to get there, but my hat off to you on that one.
Thank you. It was a long walk. It was worth it.
Worth it.
So the dimensions start. They start merging. And what's the first thing that happens, Zach, when the dimensions merge?
I'm reminded to buy Zach a birthday present.
You go for it.
The Twin Towers are destroyed.
No!
That's the first.
No!
In my head, when that happened, I heard Zach go, "No!
No! The Twin Towers get all they fall apart like they're a ruin. So was this another dimension, or is this a Planet of the Apes situation where it was just
Gatsby
the future?
just looked at me like, what the fuck?
It reminded me of, have you guys seen the movie Gangs of New York?
Yeah.
So at the end of that movie, it shows a graveyard and across the river from Manhattan. And there's a time lapse where first there's just a forest, then there's a village, then there's bigger buildings, then there's skyscrapers and fading in, and then the Twin Towers fade in. And I was like, they should make a fucking extended edition where the skyscrapers fade in, the Twin Towers fade in, then they fade back out, then roll credits.
Oh my God.
Oh, sweet merciful God.
So, New York, the dimensions are merging. Koopa's army is showing up. Koopa is there, and Scapelli is like, hey, who's this wise guy over here? Scapelli, by the way, played by a guy that was in The Godfather. So Koopa points his de-evolution gun at Scapelli, and he blasts him, and he turns into a little chimp wearing a suit. It's adorable. The chimp is also wearing a wedding ring, which I do not want to be the guy who got the chimp to wear a wedding ring. I wonder how many wedding rings that chimp ate during filming.
A lot.
That could not have been an easy task to put a fucking wedding ring on a chimp.
Yeah.
Somebody got punched by a monkey that day.
Yeah.
Someone got their fingers ripped off.
Yeah. Somebody may have had some light facial tearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Koopa was firing his de-evolution gun at Mario. Mario dodged and it hits Scapelli. Scapelli becomes an adorable chimp. Then Koopa, I'm a little unclear on this part. Koopa fires the de-evolution gun again. Mario holds up the mushroom that Luigi had, and the mushroom takes the blast and gets really big like a shield.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a common thing in the Mario games. That's what he does. When he takes the mushroom, it becomes a big-ass shield, right? That's the iconic thing that Mario does with mushrooms, right?
Mario gets a mushroom, and one of them gets bigger. Fuck, which one is it? It's the mushroom, right?
It's probably the mushroom.
It's gotta be the mushroom. Yeah. So they had a fucking
we could
coin
fire up the
flips
game
chance.
and find this out. We could fire the game up and find this out within the first 3 seconds. Nah, who's got time for that?
But we've got a pile full of cocaine and a typewriter right here.
You drive a hard bargain, sir.
Yeah. They had a coins flips chance to get this one right, and they still fucked it up. So the mushroom gets big and protects him from the blast, and then we go back to the meteor chamber. Luigi manages to get the crystal out. The world's unmerged. We get a cut of the Bob-omb still going. Did you forget about the Bob-omb, folks? It's walking around through this gross fungusy landscape. climbing up walls, upside down on ceilings, walking around. Toad gives Luigi and Daisy de-evolution guns. They're armed now, so we all get transported back to Dinosaur World.
But what he doesn't do is he hands them the guns, but he has a look in his eyes as if to say, "Use these on me and put me out of my Toad misery." But they don't get it, and they just take the guns and walk away. And he's like, "I am doomed to walk the earth in this form."
Well, he's Toad. He deserves a life of eternal torment. So we're back in Dinosaur World. Koopa has Mario in his sights, dead to rights. Toad plays his harmonica. The Goombas start dancing, so they're all distracted. Koopa's all mad. No, you fools! What are you doing? Mario and Luigi both shoot Koopa with the de-evolution guns, and he disappears. He's gone, right? He's dead. Nope, he turns into a big-ass CGI T-Rex.
Not really that big, though. Not like...
You're right. He's still, stuck in a bucket type thing.
You could still ride him,
Yeah.
You could keep him as a pet at that size and probably not get in trouble with your neighbors if you had a big yard,
So he's gone totally dino mode. Oh no, he's a dinosaur. What are they going to do? Well, they're going to shoot him some more with the de-evolution guns. So he turns into goop. And before he turned into the dinosaur, he got blown up by the bomb, and that's kind of what he flew into the air and landed in a bucket. Koopa is defeated. People start dancing in the streets. They're tearing down the Koopa posters, and there's an orchestral cover of the ground theme from World 1-1 of Super Mario Brothers. And this is actually a pretty cool moment. It's actually pretty cool. Mario and Luigi are flying through the city on the rocket boots, waving at the people.
Luigi's
it's
doing
cool.
the two fingers victory V, like he does in some games. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Luigi and Daisy, they kiss. We see in the throne room the fungus turns back into a king, and he coughs up some fungus. And
turns
says,
into a king.
I love those plumbers.
Turns into Lance fucking Henriksen. Why is he slumming in this part? For one scene, it didn't have to be anybody, but they chose Lance fucking Henriksen.
Yeah, because it was 30 seconds of work for a $10,000 paycheck. Ed.
No, I know why he did it. Because I just don't know why they're like, who should be the king here? Lance Henriksen. Although, now that I think about it, post-apocalypse, James Cameron-y kind of setting. Okay, no, it makes sense. I just had to piece it out, out loud. But, I saw that, I'm like, that guy looks a lot like, no shit! Human sandpaper, Lance Henriksen.
It kind of plays the little end of level sting, which I thought was kind of a funny little touch. Back in the meteor chamber, the Mario Brothers and Daisy are there. Daisy opens the portal, but she won't leave. She has to stay in her kingdom. She has to stay there, and but Mario and Luigi, they have to go back to their world.
Luigi's like, I don't get it, Daisy. Why can't you go back to your 5th floor walk-up shitty apartment in Brooklyn where you're barely making rent because you live on a fucking stipend from your grant for your archaeology?
Yeah.
Why would you stay here and be the princess of a whole world, you selfish bitch?
When you could have all that we have, a shared 1-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom apartment in Brooklyn that I share with my brother and his girlfriend.
Yeah, why the fuck isn't Mario Luigi's here like, hey, why don't you ask her if you could fucking stay here and I could maybe have a place to myself and have a date for once, you fuck?
Yeah! So I don't have to fuck on stealth mode. I'm kidding, Mario doesn't fuck.
Nope. Never.
So Mario and Luigi go back to Brooklyn, and then we cut to their apartment 3 weeks later, the Super says, and Mario is making dinner. What is he making?
Well, is it lunch?
No, it's later in the evening. It's an early evening. Yeah.
Oh, so I would guess, biscottis?
Exactly. They're making the biscotti. They're making the sketty. Spaghetti and meatballs. The only thing Italians eat. And on the news, there's a story about Mario and Luigi on the news, how they saved New York from temporary dinoification, and the newscaster is like, these Mario brothers, or as I would call them, the Super Mario Brothers.
Oh my god, he said the name of the thing we're in.
He said the thing. Everybody clap. So, and then the door to the apartment opens, and there's a war-torn Daisy. She's all burnt. Her clothes are all torn. She's got bandoliers and a gun, and she's like, Mario Brothers, I need your help. Everything except Mario looking at the camera like, here we go again, World 2. It's basic, but it rolls credits. They're going to go on another adventure. And that's it. That's credits.
Mario, I need your help. It turns out I have no experience as a ruler of people in a land that's economically and resourcefully depressed.
Yes. It turns out that Koopa's control was so complete that after his totalitarian regime fell, left a huge power vacuum that my claim to was only barely legitimate. They don't recognize me. I was an egg when they smuggled me out. So I'm assuming she needs their help quelling a rebellion. A people's uprising against the monarchy. So, we're in final thoughts now. Before we discuss what we thought about the movie, some fun facts. The actress who played Daisy is now the vice president of SAG.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
So Zach, Zach, you might be talking to her next week.
Yeah.
But you're like, I loved you in Super Mario Brothers. And she'll be like, your application to join SAG is denied. Let's see. So Spike, one of the two goons, that was Richard Edson, who was briefly in Sonic Youth.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
He was in Sonic Youth for 2 years. He was also in Tito and the Tarantula.
Fuck, I love that band, and I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. He's been in a million movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say I only know him from his film work because you know he's the fucking parking garage attendant in Ferris Bueller. That's what I know him from the best.
And so this movie was directed by a husband and wife couple, and they created Max Headroom.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, they created, which actually, if you look at Bowser in this Koopa in this movie, there's a lot of, you could put a shot of Max Headroom and a shot of Koopa up next to each other, and you would have a hard time distinguishing, they kind of look like before meth and after meth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And one of the writers, Ed Solomon. He wrote this. He also wrote Men in Black, the Charlie's Angels movie, and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. So that's a pretty good pedigree.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Meaning everyone's entitled to a miss occasionally, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, I found an interesting quote online from Shigeru Miyamoto, who is kind of like the Walt Disney of Nintendo, except he never, as far as I know, he never brought his employees up to the HUAC to get them thrown in jail because he didn't want to pay them more. So he's like the non-evil version of Walt Disney.
Yeah.
But he
that
said...
That we know of.
He said that he felt the film tried too hard to replicate the game. So my question is, what fucking movie did he watch?
Yeah, what version of Mario did he play?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty weird.
Yeah, that's weird as fuck. So
this movie was made hot on the heels of The Wizard, which refer to that episode to hear our thoughts on that. And this movie was it just about broke even, but it was critically, reviews were mixed. Roger Ebert gave it 2 thumbs down. Some critics liked it, but Nintendo was so scared away by this movie, they wouldn't make another live-action movie for about 30 years with Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
They're only just now recovering from this. And
it's funny because so many other video game adaptations have come to film since then, and they don't generally do great, but they generally make their money back. I'm assuming that's why they keep making them. But you'd think Nintendo would be like, there's a guy in Nintendo who's just sitting there like, I don't know. I know there've been 30 video game adaptations. Let's see how they do after 31.
Well,
can they sustain this for 32?
Nintendo is finally making, it's coming out next year, allegedly, they're finally making a Super Mario Brothers movie, I think in conjunction with Illumination Entertainment.
Is it live or live?
No, it's CGI.
CGI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're finally giving it another try.
Yeah.
Well, there's finally enough mythos to, make a movie out of, because there really wasn't at the time. Well, we'll get into that. Yeah, we're doing interesting facts and not opinions. So yeah, we'll get into that later. But
yeah, and
I have a whole diatribe in the holster ready to go for that.
Yeah, I did want to talk about video game movies, but so let me just fire off some fun facts here. This movie got rewritten a million times, which might be why it is the way that it is. The first draft of this movie was actually written by Oscar-winning screenwriter Barry Marrow, who wrote Rain Man. And the production draft of his version of this movie was called Drain Man. And apparently
and there's a
it
scene
was like
where Luigi takes Mario to Las Vegas because he's good at counting cards, right?
Well, apparently his draft was heavily rewritten because his was more of a dramatic road trip type movie focusing on the brothers. So he clearly was trying to ride that Rain Man bus again. So was Luigi mentally handicapped in that version? I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Harold Ramis was the first person they offered the director's chair to, and apparently he seriously considered it, but ultimately turned it down. David Snyder was the art director, which is why the movie looks so good, because it looks fantastic. The art direction is fantastic. David Snyder, art director of Blade Runner, Demolition Man, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
That's a big get. Yeah. So the art direction is fantastic. The first choice for the actor to play Toad, if you guys don't know who this is, just guess. Who would be your first pick to play Toad in the live action Mario Brothers movie?
Oh, jeez, I couldn't even tell you.
Just make a guess. Okay, let's say you're casting the movie. Who would you cast as the obnoxious folk rocker?
I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. Yeah.
Well, the person they wanted to cast, the good guess, that would actually be very funny. The person they wanted, Tom Waits.
Oh God, yeah, no, that makes sense. You can't get Tom Waits, you get Mojo Nixon. He's kind of the crystal meth to Tom Waits' cocaine. Yes, I get it.
Mojo Nix described himself to the directors as a third-rate Tom Waits at half the price.
He's not wrong. He's not fucking wrong.
Can you just imagine that scene where the Mario Brothers are like, oh, bro, we're lost in the weird city, and there's just a sad clown hobo at a piano who's like, well, King Koopa's keeping us down.
Well, that depends on which Tom Waits we're getting. Are we getting that Tom Waits, or are we getting the Tom Waits who was in Mystery Men, Or are we getting the Tom Waits who was in Dracula, who was playing everything to the back of the house? That
and is great, yeah.
That is the fucking Tom Waits I want in that movie. In fact, now that I think about it, the shooting schedule might have lined up so he couldn't get Tom Waits because Tom Waits was doing Dracula.
Well, I'm sorry that Tom Waits was too busy being in one of the greatest movies ever put to film. So At least Tom Waits had the good sense to do Bram Stoker's Dracula and not this. But apparently, right after
Mojo Nixon, on the other hand, right off the heels of Rock and Roll High School Forever, which was a sequel to the Ramones movie starring Corey Feldman.
The Ramones movie.
which we could totally do on this podcast if it was available fucking anywhere. Yeah.
I like the original Rock and Roll High School.
Oh, I love the original, but the second one is a garbage fire.
Yeah. So apparently right when production was starting, Disney bought the rights to distribute this movie, and then they demanded another round of rewrites. And so I think maybe part of what happened to this movie, even though I didn't hate it, I think it may have just been noted to death.
Yeah.
I think it just may have been noted to death, too many cooks in the kitchen.
In my research, from what I understood, the Disney people came along, and gave them some finishing money, because the race to get this movie to come in under budget was not easy because of all of the production design, which, again, probably the only thing they did right in this fucking movie is the production design, the art direction. It all looks amazing. But, yeah, Disney comes along and they're like, "Oh, we gave you money to do what? It's based on the video game where the guy jumps on mushrooms, and you've got a dystopian hellscape that looks like Total Recall, where there's strippers and hip hop dancing, and he doesn't even wear his fucking uniform the whole movie. How about you rewrite this?
Instead, he wears a mustard-colored evening jacket.
Who is this movie for? They rightfully said. How about you write it for the 8-year-olds who are going to make their parents drop them off at the theater so they can go see this?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's
and
largely
that's when the screenwriter was like, "Oh, okay. Well, what are 8-year-olds like? They like goofy sound effects." and that's apparently the only thing that screenwriter knows about 8-year-olds.
Yeah. I found a funny. I'm going to read part of this interview I found with Bob Hoskins from 2007. So where the interviewer asked Bob Hoskins about his regrets, and apparently Bob Hoskins is British, which I didn't know. So let me just read this.
Oh God,
real
you
quick.
didn't?
Bob Hoskins. No, he's just such I know him mostly from this, and oh my God, was he Hercule Poirot?
Yeah, I think he's done Poirot. Yeah, Bob Hoskins is like your stereotypical grimy English hard man. Which is so funny because in the late 80s, early 90s, for whatever reason, he got pigeonholed into a bunch of children's movies after Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which he only landed because he was all grizzled, and they're like, we need a grizzled guy for this. But if you watch he did a lot of British gangster flicks and stuff before that, so in my head, Bob Hoskins is this badass dude. And actually, if you read about Bob Hoskins behind the scenes of Super Mario Brothers, did all his own stunts and did that in a lot of movies.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Bob Hoskins just your stereotypical British hard man. He could be a character in a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, because I just mostly know him from this and
but yeah, you're thinking of him as cuddly Uncle Bob Hoskins, who from Hook and all this other shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they asked Bob Hoskins about his regrets, and here is what he said. Worst thing I ever done, Super Mario Brothers. It was a fucking nightmare. The whole experience was a nightmare, and had a husband and wife team directing whose arrogance had been mistaken for talent. After so many weeks, their own agent told them to get off the set. Fucking nightmare. Fucking idiots. End quotes. And Zach, I think you found something funny about him and John Leguizamo.
Oh, yeah. So I found a bunch of stuff. So about him and John Leguizamo, so the scene, any of the scenes where they're driving around in their fucking van.
Yeah.
They're trashed as fuck. They were they were drinking on set a lot.
Yeah.
And John Leguizamo, he was driving such an idiot. He was more drunk than John Hopkins.
John Hopkins. Oh my God, no.
He was more drunk than him, and he almost flipped the van.
Oh my God!
It fucked up. It ended up fucking up his hand, and he's wearing a cast that's a skin color most of the movie.
Yeah, Bob Hoskins broke his hand during
Bob
the movie.
Hoskins, yeah.
Which is why in a lot of scenes he's wearing gloves.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not. Wow. I found a thing where John Leguizamo was like, yeah, we drank on set.
Yeah.
But he kind of left out the part where he crushed his coworker's fucking hand.
Yeah. Well, he was driving the van and he stopped short, and it's one of those old work vans, so it's got the sliding door, and the door slid, and Bob Hoskins had his hand where he should have had his hand, and it broke his fucking hand.
Oh my God. It got crushed in the sliding door?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's so bad.
Christ.
Yeah. Speaking of Bob Hoskins, there was a lot of choices to play Mario before him.
Mm-hmm.
The first was Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
And Nintendo was like, no.
What?
He wanted to do it. He wanted to do it, though. He wanted to do it, but Nintendo ended up saying no. Nintendo had a lot more say on this movie than normally.
Yeah.
Because they ended up selling the rights to whatever production company for only $2 million, but they got to have final say.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much how that went. The next thing was the next guy, Danny DeVito.
Oh my God.
He read the script, hated it. Fucking he declined. Next guy they had set to play Mario was Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, he had like 2 box office failures at the time, though.
Yeah.
Like The Burbs. I forgot the other one.
Joe versus the volcano.
They were like, yeah, Joe versus the volcano. And they were like, yeah, we don't think he would be good for this part. He's more comedic.
Nintendo was like, this Tom Hanks guy, his career's going nowhere fast.
We're gonna pay him they were gonna pay him $5 million to do it. They didn't think he was worth it.
Yeah.
Then, literally, right after that, he made Philadelphia, won an Oscar.
And I think while he was filming Philadelphia, it was between takes that he was recording the lines for Toy Story.
Yeah.
Because he like believed in the project, but like didn't like because they were paying him like nothing. He was just was just recording it on his own between takes. Yeah. So that's hilarious that they're like, this Tom Hanks guy, he's going nowhere while he's making Philadelphia and Toy Story.
Yeah. And then so Coop he was going to be potentially played by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wow.
And then they also were talking to Michael Keaton.
Oh my fucking god. Dude, give me the fucking Rick and Morty portal gun so I can see the parallel universe where this movie is Tom Hanks, Michael Keaton. Oh my god. That would have been a fucking movie.
Yeah. Another thing, like, so just like on set, it's more about the directors. So Rocky Morton, it said that there was a time on set, like everyone fucking hated them.
Yeah.
And there was a time on set where apparently one of the extras looked too clean cut, so he wanted to dirty them up. Mm-hmm. And he took hot coffee and just poured it on them.
Oh my god.
And they screamed, and then he was like, it's okay, they're just an extra.
Fuck. Yeah. Well, he is just saying what all of Hollywood is thinking.
Yeah.
So...
And then, there had to be a meeting with the producers after that where the producers are like, hey, we're all thinking it, but we don't fucking say it, you asshole.
Okay, to protect myself, I won't say what this production was, but I'll say it was a huge budget production. You fucking heard of it. My first ever day as an extra, the AD called me a fucking retard. I've told this story on Cracked before, but it was my first ever day as an extra. I was in like extensive costuming, and they were shooting the scene, and the AD comes out, and she's like, Tinseltown! And she's like directing it at me, and I don't know what she means. Just this woman, this powerful woman is just yelling Tinseltown at me, and I'm like, what? You know, just relying on my rapier wit as I usually do. And she looks at me and she's like, ugh, Tinseltown, turn around. Wow, well that clears it up. So what she meant was they were doing the same scene, but they're shooting it from the opposite angle. So she wanted me to like do the same thing I did, but mirrored.
Oh, so she's using Cockney rhyming slang on you. That's nice.
Yeah, right. So we do that, and then we do it. We do one take, and she comes up. I was like crossing in front of camera for this take, and that was like the transition into the scene. So we do that take, and then she comes up to me, and she like gets up in my face, and she's like, "Banana! Banana!" And I am just lost here. And I'm like, banana? And she's like, what are you, a fucking retard? And she storms off. And then like the second or somebody, she comes up and she's like, oh, sorry, banana. She wants you to like walk in like a curved pattern. Like if you saw it from above, it would make the shape of a banana. Oh!
How would anyone know that?
Right? Fucking stupid me, right? So, so that's my story of casual workplace ableism in Hollywood.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Extra?
Yeah.
So that's how your average extra is treated on a big budget production.
So
to be fair, I worked as an extra for like 4 years when I like first got here. I guess like 3 years on, and then like another year like on and off before I worked for Cracked. Never again did I hear the term Tinseltown turnaround or banana.
I have never heard that either.
Yeah. So
seems made up.
Yeah. Seems like that was a her thing.
Yeah.
So I completely believe, without any sources, I 100% believe that this director dumped hot coffee on an extra.
Wow. So moving on to something a little less upsetting, I read
Yeah.
When asked about this movie in an interview once, Dennis Hopper said, "Nightmare." I would just like to say, again, Dennis Hopper, the guy who was in Apocalypse Now, a movie that was so catastrophic that the documentary about making it might even be more harrowing than the movie itself.
About Viet goddamn Nam. Oh my god.
Said Mario was a nightmare.
I like to imagine that's all he said was the word nightmare and then refused to elaborate.
That is what happened.
Oh my
Cut
god.
it into his skin while he was saying
That is what happened. Dennis Hopper, who I believe was one of the screenwriters of Easy Rider, which they wrote by locking themselves in a hotel room with like a pound of cocaine for a weekend, said Super Mario Brothers, nightmare.
Nightmare. Wow.
Since I'll never get to tell this story, and we'll probably never deal with Dennis Hopper again on this, but there's a famous story that when Dennis Hopper showed up to Apocalypse Now and he read, his sides on the script, he's like, this character is supposed to be like so crazy and energetic. I think what would put me over the edge is a little cocaine. Do you think that would be a problem? And like he told it to Coppola, and Coppola is like, oh yeah, here you go. Like it wasn't even like a thing that they had to like go out and get. It was just like, like he was thinking, I'm gonna be dangerous. I'm gonna say, hey, what if I get a little? And Coppola just fucking had it on site.
Don't try to out crazy the director is the lesson here.
Yeah,
that is correct.
So I had mentioned earlier that I found in something incredible. I thought it was incredible, and I wanted to share with you guys about this movie. And that's this. So according to the director, this world is in, a climate crisis. They're running out of water. They're running out of food. And according to the director, the reason for this, it's not because Koopa is a resource hoarder and, he's living in luxury while the proletariat have nothing. No, my friends. There is a reason that their world is in a climate disaster so bad that they need to invade the Earth, and that is Koopa's world refuses to use fossil fuels because that's considered grave robbing.
What?
That's right, my friends. This whole climate disaster is because they won't use clean, beautiful oil that could have solved all of their problems. What? That would solve their climate catastrophe. I know. I mean, think about it. Look at their city. All of the cars use filthy electricity to power themselves when they could be using clean, burning oil.
Do you find that disgusting?
It blew my mind. It's so fucking funny that their world is in a climate disaster because they won't use fossil fuels. Instead, they use disgusting electricity.
Like a bunch of
funded
assholes.
by BP.
Yeah, right. So how much of the fucking $50 million budget came from the Saudis? Oh my god. I just thought that was hilarious.
That is insane.
Yeah. So, I wanted to discuss this with you guys. This movie was the first ever live-action video game film adaptation, and it kind of started a pattern, I guess, or at least a meme of live-action video game movies never being good. And I kind of wanted to discuss with you guys why you think that might be. If you guys had any thoughts on that.
Well, I think it really depends on the video game that it's adapting. I mean, I have never seen a video game adaptation film that I liked. No, I take that back. I did see one. The first Mortal Kombat movie, not
Postal?
the most recent one. Well, the first Mortal Kombat movie, why did I like it? Because it took place at a tournament where a bunch of Mortal Kombat guys show up and Mortal Kombat each other.
Yeah,
they didn't go off book. They didn't do anything weird. They didn't have to delve further back into weird mythology that didn't exist or anything like that. Nope, they just showed up. They did it. They had a thing to do. They did a thing.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You're saying if you make a Mortal Kombat movie predicated on there being a tournament to decide the fate of the world, you should have a tournament?
That would be my first step, but I guess I don't make movies, so.
Yeah, well, it shows, Ed.
Yeah.
I mean, people are thinking when they're making the new movie, oh, well, we've seen a Mortal Kombat tournament movie before. Yeah, we've seen it in 11 fucking video games. That's the whole point of the video game. The Mortal Kombat fans are in for it, you know? We're on board, you asshole. But anyway, I've seen other movies. I've seen Double Dragon, which we could easily do on this podcast because it's a pile of shit. We've seen Street Fighter, another possible coming soon to a podcast near you. I've God, yeah, and
the Sonny Chiba Street Fighter.
No, the Van Damme one.
Yeah,
you bite your
Sonny Chiba one
bite
kind
your
of
fucking
rules.
tongue. Yeah, the Sonny Chiba one is amazing, and we could totally do that on here. But because it's insane. It fits our criteria. But I just, there are so many video game adaptations like Silent Hill, stuff like that. It's always like, I didn't see Silent Hill. What's the one I'm thinking of? Resident Evil. The whole point of the video game is you go to this house, there's zombies, you're a cop or FBI agent or something, you're investigating that. Why is the movie not that? It's already a good story. What the fuck? It's either they do that, or on the other end of the spectrum, we have Super Mario Brothers, which had like no mythology when they decided to turn it into a movie. Double Dragon, no mythology when they decide. Well, Double Dragon didn't need mythology. The whole point of the video game Double Dragon is you're two tough guys.
Two guys are in a fight.
Yeah. Well, it's like you're two tough guys, and one of the tough guys' girlfriends like gets kidnapped by a gang, and you have to go fight the gang. That's every 70s action movie.
Yeah.
It's easy to not fuck this up, but they always want to add a bunch of extra weird shit to it, and I just, for the life of me, do not understand why they do that. Either, if you're going to adapt something, stay close to the source material so you can, pander to the fans that you're trying to attract by adapting it in the first place, or don't do it. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I'm kind of conflicted because, like, with adaptations, I'm down for a weird adaptation. Like, if I wanted an exact one-to-one adaptation from one medium to the other, I would just do the first thing.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't want a straight up panel to panel adaptation of like my favorite comic book turned into the movie. Don't get me wrong, but I want the essence of the thing to be what they're adapting. And oftentimes when they bog everything down with mythology and shit, they're forgetting what the initial essence is. Resident Evil, haunted house movie. Double Dragon, street vigilante film. Mario Brothers. What the fuck is that game even about?
I will say there is a section in the Doom movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, that is shot in first person at the end.
But let me ask you this: as I have not seen the Doom movie, but I am a big fan of the original video game. Is he on another planet, and is he fighting demons on another planet? And is he using big ass guns to do it?
So, okay, I saw the Doom movie at a drive-in when it came out.
Sure.
A long time ago. And
I actually didn't see it.
Yeah. I only played the original Doom like 2 years ago, because that is not a game my mother would have let me play.
Oh, yeah, no, I get that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think in the movie he's on like a space. It's kind of like Alien, where they're like, oh, we're on a spaceship. They find a spaceship, and they're like, oh, what happened? I think.
Okay.
So anyway, about video game adaptations, I think, it started in like the 90s when video games were fairly thin on story, with some exceptions, like the first Final Fantasy or whatever. So I think they were like trying to like make a story out of just these weird disparate like images, and I think video game movies generally don't work just because movies and video games are two very different means of storytelling.
Yes, films, also that.
Films are all about economy. They're all about the economy of storytelling. Whereas with a video game, part of what makes games compelling to me is the world. You can explore the world, which is why I think that games work better as a TV series. I mean, Netflix had The Witcher, and HBO is going to have a Last of Us, and I think there's going to be a gold rush of video game to TV adaptations that we're going to be seeing.
See, I think that works for some games. Like, all the games you just mentioned have like an open world quality to them, but like, you know what? Let's name some of some of my favorite video games are fighting games. You don't need an open world. Like, you don't need a series to be necessarily that. You just need to pick your main character. But video games by and large now have evolved to an open world setting. So I suppose fuck the thing I was just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and also I think immersion is a big part of why video games work so well, because as good as a BioShock movie might be, you're never going to get that BioShock moment, and I'm not even going to spoil what that BioShock moment is. It's one of the greatest moments in video gaming that I've ever experienced as a player.
Yeah.
It's the first time I ever started taking video games seriously as like art and not entertainment, you know?
Yeah.
That's never going to happen in a movie, though. I mean, maybe it will. Actually, come to think of it, Michael Haneke has come close, but I just, it's a different medium, and it has its own strengths and weaknesses, just like comic books, just like literature, just like anything else, you know?
Yeah.
And also,
exactly.
I think the other problem is that half of the people out there making movies don't take video games seriously as an art form yet. You know, Roger Ebert famously didn't, and I think a lot of people are still on Roger Ebert's side about that. Yeah, because when they think video games, they think Super Mario. You know,
I think you're absolutely right, and there is like a generational thing. But there's also a lot of young filmmakers that don't see video games as art, and I think that's just kind of like because they don't understand what the medium is doing. I think it's because they look at video games and they think like, oh, with film, it's the story, the characters, and they're looking at that part of the video game. But if you're just looking at that with a video game, you're looking at the story through a keyhole. Because you have to see like the world, like if you just play Dark Souls, you'd be and like focus on like the story as told by interactions between characters, you'd be like, what is this Dr. Seuss nonsense? Because that's not how it tells the story. It tells the story through the details of the world that you explore. The more you explore, the more you can like piece together what's happening. That's kind of my thoughts on it. Yeah, let's, this is gonna be like our shortest episode, because it is so fucking hot in here. Yeah, I just want to be done. Hot. Yeah, holy shit. We can't have our air on because it would be too loud.
Too loud. It'll fuck up the audio.
So let's get to final thoughts here. This movie is famous for being like, worst movie ever made. But we've watched a lot of movies for this podcast
that are way worse than this.
Yeah, absolutely. This was kind of a Howard the Duck thing for me. Like, if you strip away like the Mario and like maybe a few of like the weirder parts, this would be remembered as like a fun, Ghostbusters knockoff.
Yeah.
Like the art direction was impeccable. It was fucking great. It was fantastic. I liked a lot of the costuming. The story was a little thin and confused, probably because it was noted to death. But the main thing was like, it's just not Mario.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe if this movie had come out like 5 years later after we've had, more people have been exposed to Super Mario 64, because that was the previous year, right? That came out in 92? Super Mario 64?
No, Mario 64 came out after that. Mario World came out in 92.
Yeah, I know this movie came out right after Super Mario World, which is also kind of funny because this movie is like, Mario Brothers, dinosaurs, but only that one game really has like a strong dinosaur theme.
Yeah, that one, it's weird because the production design of Mario World is half dinosaurs and half desserts. So,
yeah, because there's like Donut Island and stuff.
It's like your
Donut Plains.
Yeah, and like there are mountains with like cherries on top of them and shit. Yeah.
So I guess they just took the dinosaur thing and ran with it. But yeah, so Zach just looked it up, and 64 came out in 96.
Yeah.
So and then Paper Mario came out the next year, right? In 97, and Paper Mario is like it has like a real story with character arcs, and I love the original Paper Mario. I play through it like once a year. It's like slipping into a hot bath for me. I just love it.
Yeah, Paper Mario, that's the sequel to the Mario RPG, right?
Spiritual successor.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Because, the Mario RPG was really, like, the first time I felt like there was real mythology going on in the Mario games, because, you know, if you don't put the instruction booklet in somebody's hands and sit them down in front of the original Super Mario Brothers and they've never played it, they don't play through it and then go, okay, but what the fuck just happened there? They're just in it, you know? Same with, you know, Mario's 2 through Mario World, and then Mario RPG was the first time they actually started incorporating any of that shit that was written into the instruction booklets and all of the, you know, tertiary media and stuff, so... You know, I mean, there had been cartoon adaptations and comic books and stuff like that, but it was just kind of... People thought of it the same way that, you know, they think of, like, fan fiction, you know?
Yeah. And that actually kind of brings up, I think you pretty much are saying the same point that I was working towards, which is that if this movie had come out like 5 or 10 years later... Yeah,
when there was something for them to adapt, yeah.
Or even to interpret. If it was like more codified that, like, you know, okay, Mario, Mushroom Kingdom, here's like how these people interact, and then this movie came out, I think people would have given it more leeway, like, oh, it's an interpretation.
Yeah.
You know, of it's like how, oh, you know, Spider-Man Noir, it's an interpretation of it. Like, I think that would have been interesting.
I'm down for Mario Noir.
Dude.
Boy, have I got a YouTube series for you. It's I think it's called Brawl in the Family. It's pretty good, actually. It's like, it started as like kind of like a funny way that they were like talking about this quote unquote story of Super Smash Brothers, but then it became popular and they like actually started putting work into it. It was pretty good. And like Luigi is like a detective and like he's like trying to figure out like why are all these people fighting and who's inviting them, and like Kirby is like a Hannibal Lecter type serial killer who steals people's faces. Wario is like it's great. Waluigi is like mentally handicapped. It's so funny. It's actually pretty good. It's I think it's some sort of Smash Brothers pun. I think it's called Brawl in the Family. Check it out though.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, since we're mentioning things, for those of you who are out there listening, if you want to learn all of the knowledge that there is to learn about the making of the Super Mario Brothers movie, there is a website 2 Super Mario Brothers movie super fans have put together where they have cataloged every outfit that's in the movie, every prop that's in the movie. They have tracked down like every creative voice behind the movie and interviewed them that they can, and they're the ones who are behind the getting oh god, what's his name? Getting the restoration that was done by Gilchrist?
Garret Gilchrist.
Garret Gilchrist, yeah. And, they were the ones who found the producer's copy that he painstakingly cleaned up. And by the way, there's a 30-minute video where Garret Gilchrist, like, walks you through all the work he had to do to try to clean up various scenes. And seriously, if somebody who works in Hollywood has seen that and he doesn't have a job with the studio already, what are we doing as a society? Because the work he has put into restoring this mediocre at best film could definitely be used to preserve all of our cinematic classics that, you know.
Yeah. And so I was going to do this at the end, but that's a good segue. Shout out to Garret Gilchrist. He's a cool dude. He's doing the work of preservation, which if you've listened to the podcast, you know that's a huge sticking point with me. I'm convinced that we're on the cusp of another huge film extinction event. There actually was just a huge music extinction event.
Yes.
MySpace accidentally wiped their servers and they lost like 20 to 30 million original songs. So Garret Gilchrist, he's doing the work. Yeah, they were doing a server transfer and they lost bunch of the original music. Yeah. Indie bands that never got signed to a label and shit.
I had music on there. Fuck.
It's all gone now, man. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So Garret Gilchrist, he's doing the fucking work. He does incredible work. He's done a bunch of really cool shit. He actually pulled our asses out of the fire on this episode because he did this extended cut, and a bunch of people were writing about it in like the AV Club. I think Washington
articles about it.
Yeah, like I think Washington Post was talking about it. Yeah. Which is why, because I mean, we did The Wizard, and we always knew we wanted to do the Mario Brothers movie, and we're like, well, now's the time. People are talking about it, and so we went to go do it. And on the yesterday, because I always watch the movie the night before the podcast, so it's fresh in my mind, and it was gone from everywhere. And then I realized Garret Gilchrist, he and I have talked on Twitter a couple of times, so I hit him up, and he provided us with a link to see it. So thank you, Garret. He's an awesome dude. And check him out on DeviantArt. He's Tyger, Tyger Bug on DeviantArt. Check him out there. Check him out on YouTube as himself, where he's got a bunch of awesome preservationist work and some original work and some like tutorials on how he like does some of his special effects. Check him out there. And check him out on archive.org/details/@symbol OCP movie. He is OCP movie on archive.org. Check his shit out. He's awesome. Big thank you to Garret on this. Yeah. So
and also, like I said, if you guys want to learn all of the information about this movie that you will ever need to know, the URL for that website, I'm trying to find it right now. So you go ahead and I'll just drop it in during my plugs.
Cool. Yeah, and I think that website, I think they also did a semi-canon webcomic continuation of the movie. I think.
Yes,
and got,
they did.
Blessing from like one of the producers or something. But I just wanted to say in my final thoughts that like this movie was, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't Mario. There were elements of it that were really, really good, like the art direction. And as Ed had alluded to earlier, this movie was kind of revolutionary in the way it did some special effects. It was like one of the first movies to like really combine CGI and practical effects and layered them in a new way. So, in that way, they were breaking new ground, man. It was the first ever live action video game movie. So I gotta give them props in some regard for making something that had never been done before, and maybe they missed the mark a little bit. Maybe it was just an issue of notes and adapting the material, but they took a long shot. Maybe they didn't stick the landing, but good for them for fucking trying.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear your guys' final thoughts on it.
After you, Zach.
Okay. Dude. This movie, there's a lot of nostalgia around this movie for me. Just watching it as a kid.
Because Mud is both dirty and clean at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I love Nintendo and just like Super Mario in general. It was really cool seeing a movie about it, even though it was like nothing like Mario at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was cool seeing pretty much the same characters doing stuff. But it was really fun. Like I hadn't watched this movie in a long time, and seeing it again was it was cool watching it again. And I actually think I could watch like later on down the line. This is like a movie I could show some of my friends.
Yeah.
Like this is a silly movie that was made. So yeah, fucking great. Art like you were saying, like the art direction amazing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was cool. Dude, I liked the movie though.
Yeah,
overall.
yeah, I would say I liked it too.
Yeah,
overall.
it wasn't bad.
Yeah, Ed.
All right, I'm going to have to disagree with both of you, but I will say this: I think this movie is a soulless pile of hot garbage. It was adapted out of cynicism. They're like, oh, this will sell as a movie, and then it was put in the hands of two directors who didn't want to make a Mario Brothers movie, so they decided to make this weird dystopian thing instead. It was starring a bunch of actors who didn't want to do the movie and only did it because, someone told them, coming along the line of their career, it's a family film. This will get you in a lot of spaces you're not seen before, and it'll be good for your career. And you can tell all of the actors aren't into it. And, famously in interviews, all of the actors have said they're not into it. I mean, Bob Hoskins was doing it because he was doing family movies because he was sick of making, like, 40 pounds in a sandwich on fucking British gangster films. You know, John Leguizamo did it because he's all of like 18 years old in this movie, and when he wasn't making movies,
they fished him out of Second City for this.
He was doing off-Broadway at the time. He was doing one-man shows. And by the way, if you ever get a chance, you should see them. They're awesome. I think they're all on YouTube. But he was doing like character work on off-Broadway. Fucking Dennis Hopper was still in the middle of being blackballed by Hollywood for one of the many times that Dennis Hopper got blackballed by Hollywood. That's an interesting story that I don't have time to get into here. But it's a movie made by producers who were cynical, from directors who were cynical, from actors who were cynical, and the cynicism shows. But I will say this. I hate this movie, but I respect this movie because of the technical achievements. They didn't go in phoning it in, well, some of the actors did, but, you know, the production designers, the directors, they definitely went in and they played the shit out of the game, you know, even though they knew they were playing a losing ball game, they still played the shit out of the game, and I respect them for that. The production design of this movie, off the hook. Costumes, even though when I think King Koopa, I think big red-haired lizard dragon man with a turtle shell. I don't think guy who dresses like a bouncer at the sleaziest fucking casino in Atlantic City. You know, even all of that, the movie is visually interesting. I would not recommend this to anybody who's like a Mario Brothers fan. They're like, I am the Mario Brothers super fan, but I've never seen the movie. I would be like, you know what? Go on the rest of your life having not.
It's an interesting piece of like Mario history.
And if it's interesting in the same way that, you know, it's interesting to find out that, you know, your uncle robbed a bank once. You know?
Yeah, I should probably say full disclosure. I'm a huge Mario fan.
Yeah. Oh, same here. Same here.
Yeah.
I am a gigantic Mario fan. You know, like anybody who came up in my generation, we all revere Mario, unless we were one of those weird Sega kids whose parents wouldn't get them a Nintendo. But even the Sega kids would come over to my house and be like, can we play Super Mario Brothers? And I'd be like, I'm so over that game. I've beaten it 900 times. Can we please play this instead? And they'd be like, but it's Mario. You know, like, so I fucking get it. You know, like, Mario is revered, and Nintendo is always, after the Super Mario Bros. I will say this too. I think after the Super Mario Brothers movie, Nintendo did a better job of like making sure all of their IP is like revered and not, you know, and not adapted in a weird, you know, in a weird shitty way. Because around the time this movie came out, that's when those CD-ROM games that for Mario and Zelda came out that were terrible. That well, I don't want to talk about that.
Like the wand of Gamelon and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was late '80s, early '90s. Nintendo like became much more protective of their IP in a way that we're like I said, we're only recently beginning to see them. Like they're finally making another. It was 2019 that Detective Pikachu came out.
And that's what I was building to. That's what I was building to. I was saying, and I really hope that, you know, the success of Detective Pikachu still doesn't, like, you know, put all the dollar signs in their eyes, and they still are protective of their IP, because I you know, I love those characters. And as far as like my personal favorite kinds of movies are either movies that are technical achievements that are amazing, or movies that are not the best technically, but you can tell that everybody who, you know, is in the movie like put their heart into it. And while this is a technical achievement, I wouldn't call it amazing, and nobody put their fucking heart into it. So I can't call it a success, but I can't call it a failure either, because it is so technically proficient, you know? So I am of so many minds about this. I get what you're saying.
Maybe it's just because I'm missing the historical context, but like, it's interesting that you call it cynical, and I definitely see where you're coming from. And I've said many times that like the one thing I cannot forgive in a movie is cynicism, but like the way I see it, the writers and directors had a really weird, unfaithful vision, but they took they took a big risk with it, and I kind of got to respect that.
Well, if you read the interviews, they kind of didn't want to make a Mario Brothers movie, and they were like, "We'll just go off on our own thing."
Yeah.
So, but it's like at that point, don't make the Mario Brothers movie, then, you know?
Yeah, if they took all of the Mario stuff out of it, this would, like I was saying, this would probably be remembered as like a fun Ghostbusters knockoff.
Yeah. Maybe they could have taken all the Mario stuff out of it, gone to like Canon Pictures or something, and done it for a much lower budget, but still, you know, it would be revered to this day. But since they didn't, we don't get that version, sadly. And Dennis Hopper probably still would have been in it.
So, yeah, I have sweat pooling on top of my ball sack like a bird bath. So, anybody else have anything in particular they want to add about the movie? All right, well, in that case,
it all on the floor.
Yeah. In that case, check us out on Patreon. That is patreon.com/badmoviesforbadpeople. We got a couple things. Eventually, we're going to start archiving our episodes. You'll always have access to them that way when we do start doing that. In addition to that, we got a couple other tiers, but for the most part, $5 gets you everything. It's really just a way to support us. If you like the podcast, we appreciate your support. If you can't do the money, that's understandable. Like us on YouTube, Bad People Pod on YouTube. We're at Bad People Pod on Twitter. You can follow us, all of our goings on there. My name is William Kuchenberg. You can read my work on Cracked.com. I am also doing game reviews on UltimateGamingParadise.com.
Oh, yeah, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, and I am doing dumb tweets, I think they're called. Shit posting, as the kids say on Twitter, at Scripts for Sale. That's scripts ending with a Z, numerical 4 sale. You can read a bunch of my work online. I am looking to get staffed. I am a Nichols Top 50 finalist, looking to get staffed in a room, or as a writer's assistant. I am young, hungry, and ready to work, and I will bake pastries for your room, and I am a delight to be around. That's about it for me. Throwing it to Zach. What you got, Zach?
Yep, I'm Zach. You can follow me on most social medias as Zackass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just follow me.
Yeah. Can we talk about the big thing, or is that still...
Yeah, I'm in Jackass 4.
Hell yeah, you are, my man. Fuck yeah.
I can't really say more than that.
Yeah.
Yes, all those times that Zach couldn't record with us, it's because he was getting shot in the nuts with a cannon.
So, yeah, we're super proud of you, man.
This is the podcast equivalent of that, so that's why he does.
Yeah. All right, so Ed, what have you got?
Well, I got nothing, but as usual, because I don't do anything. But I would like to shout out the Super Mario Brothers film website, put together by two people who set out to prove that Super Mario Brothers wasn't a bad movie by archiving every single factoid about it. And I'm not going to say they succeeded, but I'm impressed. The URL is smbmovie.com, and they're also on Twitter as at smbmovie. Like, you know, shout them out. They did the work, and I'm really, without that website, I wouldn't have learned a lot of the things I learned about this movie, and I would have brought a lot less to the table at this podcast, as if that were possible. You can find me on social media if you know where to look. I don't do anything interesting on there. I really have to start sharing my dirty thoughts with the world, but I just haven't. And I do have something coming very soon, that I can't talk about yet, but I'm putting that out there right now as a way to shame myself into doing more with the project I'm working on right now. I've got a project in the fire. It's an iron in the fire right now. It's not ready to announce, but this is me telling future me, when this episode drops, that if I haven't made any progress on it, fuck you, Eddie. I hate you for not working on it. But seriously, that's all I have this time. We like to think, and of course, I always say this, and I'm going to continue saying this, merchandise is coming for those of you who are interested in buying some of our shit. So,
well, all right. So in that case, I think that about wraps it up for us today. I got to turn this fucking air conditioner on, maybe take a cold shower, because talking about that Super Mario Bros. Got me worked up. No, I'm just super sweaty and disgusting.
It's all that talk about Mario fucking the dinosaur, or the lady with the tail.
No, whichever. One more big old shout out to Garret Gilchrist. Thank you again for doing this
Absolutely.
project. We love what you do. We are big fans of yours on this podcast.
Yeah, watch his YouTube documentary about restoring this movie because it's
fascinating.
seriously fascinating. And if why a studio hasn't scooped him up yet, I don't know.
Yeah. So, and that is everything from us. So until next time, take it easy and keep it sleazy.
You know what I love about blood? It's clean and it's dirty at the same time.